Entire team down. You ready, big boy? Yeah. You should turn on mute co-broadcaster or whatever it is. Under audio.
Got it.
That should do it. All right.
Nice. Got it.
Gonna unmute the stream. Hello, everybody. Welcome. Miss Suns fan, joining me is Banana Slam Jamma, also known as BSJ. Probably one of the best nicknames in the entire scene, I have to say. How's it going, buddy?
Good, man. Thanks for having me.
This is the DAC China qualifiers. We're going to start with the LGD versus VTJ Thunder. There's actually 2 streams going on at once right now. There are a lot of fucking games, bro. A lot of games to be played in this tournament. Or this qualifier, I should say.
5 seconds.
Do you know anything about either of these teams? I mean, you were technically on VTJ Storm, but I'm guessing you guys never played against VTJ.
Well, no, we never played against them, but we kind of like got to hear updates, how the other team progressing or certain things they did to get better, and just dynamics within the team. And we watched them. Obviously, it's kind of like they were in the finals or they won the which tournament was that? The
Galaxy Battles.
Galaxy Battles. Yeah. So I've kept track with them. But they haven't been a team I exactly like studied.
Yeah.
That's one thing I like about casting other regions, and why I'm always happy to be here, is because it kind of forces you to see how other regions play. Because at the end of the day, it's like whenever I watch LANs, you just like it's just a completely different Dota world when you watch other regions. Like their bans, their pick priorities, the play style, it's all different.
Yeah, it's I'm actually looking at their picks and bans in the last month or so for both of these respective teams. Of course, VTJ Thunder, as you said, won Galaxy Battles, and LGD just got off 2nd place in Star Ladder. So it should be interesting to see how these teams match up. But
this is the first round best of 1?
Yeah.
How's this?
I mean, I don't know the exact format, but it's just group stage, best of 1. It looks like it might be a round robin. It's a play after format, so you don't really have to. We know we're going to be, just so you guys know, me and BSJ are going to be doing the first 4 games of this stretch. But technically, there's 16 best of 1s today, 8 of which are on line 1, which is what we're doing, and we're doing half of that. So, yeah.
I was kind of wondering like how these 2 teams are playing.
Ten seconds remaining.
Yeah, for sure. I actually want to kind of look up what the format is later in the tournament, but actually I'm going to alt-tab real quick and do that. Let's see. So the first 2 days are going to be the best of 1 the best of 1 group stage, and then after that it turns into the bracket. Looks like it's actually a double elim, so some teams start in the lower bracket. But anyway, we can get to the actual game here. So you said yourself before the stream went live that you have yet to play the new patch. What did you think when you read the patch?
I mean, the biggest shockers were like the changes like on Blink Dagger and stuff. Items that, like this, in my opinion, this is like a sub patch. Like a very, obviously, even though it's 7.08, it's like they just changed things that haven't been changed for years. So for me, it was just kind of weird to think about you never really realize the impact of these small changes to items that have been the same forever, like heroes that naturally buy them. Like, I mean, I really like the patch. I just think that a lot of like the broken items, the broken heroes, got a little bit of nerf, but none of them were too.
Yeah, I mean, 7.07 was like a brand new game almost, and then 08, like you said, because of this new patch system, is going to be completely different. All right, I do have a question before, because I'm going to go off on tangents. I don't know if you ever heard me cast before.
I have.
I go off on tangents quite a bit. Meteor Hammer, love or hate?
I mean, I love the fact that like an item like that can have viability now. So I'm very curious to see, where it starts popping up. I think the cooldown is. What we talked about is the fact that the cooldown makes it so that you can effectively clear a wave every wave. Because waves spawn every 30 seconds. So having the cooldown drop from above 30 seconds to below is pretty significant. Like my initial, I'm curious. I guess I'm excited honestly because I think the item's funny. Items also adds a different dynamic. Like heroes, giving a hero a stun that previously either didn't have a stun or had like a stun with no damage now, because it's a ton of damage. It's like
Yeah. I hate the item.
You hate the item.
It's kind of weird because I think about it. I don't know why I hate it, because it in theory, it should be something I love because it's such a meme item, right?
Yes.
I just don't like the idea of being able to take towers with an item. I don't know. I'm not saying it's a bad item by any means. I just don't like the design personally. But it is fun to watch when people get it. We saw, I think it was Galaxy Battles. Who was it? Crit, I think, was buying it every single game for EG.
Yeah.
On Nyx Assassin, and then they got 3-0 to the finals. A lot of
4-position heroes that have like.
Yeah.
The thing I like about the item is that it gives heroes something they didn't previously have, but if you buy it on heroes that need something else, then it really messes you up. So it has like a strict upside and a strict downside. And
so basically, Treant Protector who needs nothing is a great item for.
Yes,
right?
exactly. Like heroes that just kind of built whatever before, I think, are the ones like Nyx, and they obviously Nyx can use other items as well, but you kind of just built for the game on Nyx.
Yeah.
Midas, all that kind of stuff. I think that's why you're seeing it.
All right. Well, into the actual draft itself, we have Beastmaster, Bounty Hunter for LGD, and for VTJ, Razor, Witch Doctor, which...
5 seconds.
Trying to look at their actual picks in the last few tournaments. Of course, it's not the new patch. I don't think either team have played on the new patch yet. Well, LGD did get second, of course. It is weird that the patch came out in the middle of that tournament, but...
That was very strange, but there's so many tournaments.
Yeah, I think they might come out with a tournament version option when you're running something like that. In the lobby, you choose what version, like a legacy or current.
Oh, that'd be cool. Like just to keep it.
Yeah, although I think from the tournament perspective, I think they'd rather have the new patch because it creates more hype. But I think it depends from organizer to organizer.
Remaining.
A lot of it from the
5 seconds remaining.
It talking to you. One thing I wanted to say is that this like Razor first pick has really become a. I love when there's like a new first pick type hero and people. I love seeing like how people choose to deal with it. In case you see LGD who just got done with the tournament, there was a lot of first pick Razor in that tournament.
Remaining.
You know the reason behind first pick Razor for.
5 seconds.
My opinion is like it denies Omni, which is like the hero of this patch, and also denies a lot of these like tides and unwards and like offlaners really popular. So kind of offlane. Then it can just go mid anyways if counter picked. I feel like it's weak to getting ran at by like multiple heroes in the early stages because you can link one. I think that kind of shows in LGD's draft, right? Because with Beastmaster plus, you know, the roaming bounty hunter. So the Razor at any point has to be scared to like walk up and like a wisp behind with a bounty hunter going on you and suddenly you're just dead. I like the approach though, gaming.
Io Terrorblade. Is this the actual combo or we're going to see another combo for Io? I don't think I've seen it. I'm trying to think of any time I've seen this combo before. I'm sure it's happened, but it's a little odd.
It's like a weird combo because, you know, a lot of IO heroes, it's like give them mana or move speed like the tinies and the bends in order to get in there and deal more damage as well as have the sustain, the man up. With Terrorblade, it's more of like a prevent him from getting bursted before he gets Sunder off. And also the fact that Terrorblade really split pushes well. Like LG Gaming split push is insane right now, right? Because they have the Beastmaster plus Terrorblade, so their map presence with Io. It's like it is definitely a weird combo. It's like it's not traditional. I actually have not seen them play Io. The only teams I've really seen are Liquids out there. It's kind of just a Io this patch. I think has transitioned to being more of like a map pressure hero, right? Like if you saw the way Liquid played. Where you just continuously keep really high pace, really high tempo, like push towers all over the map, and if they ever try to stop one of your pushing, you just save them. So I kind of makes sense with Terrorblade in that aspect, I guess, but I know what you're saying.
And the other side, VTJ take Medusa, who I would say is traditionally... The Stone Gaze is amazing against Terrorblade because it just auto-kills illusions. I know this isn't picked up very often, but what are your thoughts on we can talk about Ags all day, but Ags on Medusa versus somebody like Terrorblade, where you just insta-kill illusions with Mystic Snake?
I think it's like picked up against CK for a good reason, because when he like his ult is really the hero. Like kill his illusion ults. Like Terrorblade's illusions are kind of like a bonus rather than what defines the hero. Like you want the illusions, but the hero itself without them is still pretty good. But I think you should steer away from it with it. I think it's really just for CK.
Okay. But there is is it 50% extra physical damage while they're stone form, right? Something like that?
Yes.
You got Witch Doctor ult, Medusa right click, Razor right click. It's not the worst. All right, I'm not saying first pick or first buy Ags,
later on, maybe when the Terrorblade's fight.
It is kind of weird to get when you think about it. You're getting like 4 slotted on Medusa with all these big items like Scotty, Mask of Manus, whatever the case may be. Then you randomly get an Ags. It does feel kind of weird, right? But
yeah, for me, I feel like Medusa's a hero that something I don't talk about too much, but certain heroes like to itemize for themselves, and certain heroes are much more comfortable in itemizing like against the enemy rather than for themselves. And I think Medusa's a hero that tends to want to itemize for herself more so than to counter the enemy. So that's why I think Ags is like less likely, but I see what you're saying for sure. I mean, I think that's one of those, if you feel like the Terrorblade's a serious issue and you have no other way to deal with it, you can itemize that way.
Right. So Legion Commander, the last pick here for VGJ. Obviously, overwhelming odds really good against Illusions as well. So Illusion Clear is pretty decent for VGJ overall. The duel, the only save right now is the IO Relocate. I don't know. It's a weird 5th pick. I don't really see LC 5th pick that often. But how do you think that'll fare this game? I think it's just
to counter the Beastmaster. I like
in lane.
Kind of. No, like in it's like whenever you have a Wisp, you have to think about how the team's gonna like set up stuff, and so it's always gonna be with Beastmaster. So if they didn't have like a save, then VGJ would have a hard time being separated.
Okay, there's another save.
So yeah, the LC allows them to like group as 3 or 4, and then the LC sits behind the other core, and if they go on Razor, for instance, and LC's behind, she can like save him. So they're able to split push a bit better. I think it's more of like a defensive LC more so than an aggressive one.
Okay.
Because of, I mean, the Pugna, like I said, Wisp Pugna, I guess they've kind of taken this from Liquid. It's kind of funny because it's not like a Wisp hero, but the thing is, Pugna has serious mana problems, so you can basically speed up the tempo of his ability to just nuke down towers because you give him all the sustain. Very interesting combination. I mean, I like LGD's draft better personally. I just think that their map presence as well as just tower pressure is pretty insane, and the only hero that can consistently defend is the Dusa. I feel like all the other heroes are vulnerable to getting like dove and like dying. So I think if LGD gets off to like a snowballing start, they'll kind of just take over the game. Not to say I think VGJ can't win at all. I think their draft, like, they have really strong high ground defense, and I think their late game go either way. Like the Terrorblade matchup, like you said, he can take down the Medusa, or like the Medusa can take out his illusions, but he can also, when he reflects her, he gets all of her split shot, so he like kills her entire team behind her, kind of thing.
Yeah, that's pretty dirty.
When he reflects her, so the matchup goes like both ways for sure. What do you think?
Oh, I don't know. I do like the Pugna quite a bit. The nice save with Decrepify versus the duel. Of course, Pugna was, I believe, buffed in the last patch. His life drain does more damage now. I think it matches the Aghanim Scepter, if I'm not mistaken, other than the cooldown, obviously. So interested to see how this hero has actually...
That damage is pretty nuts. Yeah, it went from 250 to 300 max level. I love how they show that now. That's one of my favorite changes.
Oh, does it show here?
Yeah, if you like if you hover over it, it says like 7.08.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah. So you no longer have to go sifting through your patch notes.
Yeah, indeed. Times of old have died. All right, looks like VGJ Thunder, not to be confused with VGJ Storm, are going to be grouping up here in the bot lane, attempting to get off a ward, it looks like. And they're going to run into maybe on the Pugna, but he has the vision. Pugna is such a fast hero. It always takes me off guard. I don't know why. ridiculously fast.
Yeah, like
he doesn't
certain
look like
heroes
he
are just
should be
randomly
fast. Yeah, it doesn't look like he should be fast at all.
I mean, like Enchantress is at least like, you know, go, you know.
Yeah,
like
that one
Dio or
makes more
whatever,
sense.
So.
Yeah,
Yeah, but like with Pugna, he's just skeleton dude with like scrawny little legs. Like how, you know, where did he get it?
I don't know, dude. I have no idea. Then you have who? CK's pretty fast. He's on a horse. Luna's pretty fast. She's on a panther. It's all lore friendly except for Pugna. I think that is kind of game breaking, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, someone who's new, like anyone who's trying to learn the game, that like a lot of it, like you said, it makes sense. Catch you off guard for sure. I mean, that move speed's insane in terms of like his ability to solo lane. That's pretty much what it offers him. Like heroes like Drow and stuff are much squishier in the early stages. They're like squishy heroes just like Pugna, but Pugna can just give him the old walk away treatment.
Mm-hmm. Well, FY is going to pick up his bottle thanks to that newly picked up bounty rune, which technically was nerfed in the last patch thanks to the experience, the base experience being completely gone. Although it doesn't really change in the level 1 at all. Here comes Kama. Is that how you say it? Kama or Kama?
I think it's Kama, but
seriously?
Really, I've heard people say Kama. Like with these foreign names, it's like you never know.
Yeah, I mean, Kama does sound super American, so there's no way that that's right. I got a Kama. There's no way that's right. Got to be Kama. We'll go with that.
I'm just interested to see that this is an offlane Deuce. This is like a...
Yeah, this is weird.
I mean, they always have to change up lanes. That's like a lot of concern with Pro Dota this patch is like making sure you get good matchups. So clearly they just wanted to get the Razor against the Terrorblade, I think, instead of the Razor against the Pugna. I think that's why they did that like 5-man movement bottom. So, like, you know, Pugna obviously just walks away from Razor if he gets...
Top lane, though, Yang is in a lot of trouble attempting to run away, but Chalice is so fast. He gets off the axes. A couple more right clicks might be enough, and that's first blood for LGD. In fact, a TP is canceled as well. So, nice start here for LGD.
Wisp Beastmasters from Liquid and the extra axes get from the man Wisp as well as down. Expect to see some phase boots out of him and a lot of high tempo in the top.
Did they change anything with Beastmaster in the last patch?
No.
Don't believe so. Yeah, that's right, because I was looking at the patch notes. It went from A to like E. I was looking for Centaur. I always look for Centaur right off the bat, and of course nothing changes. Bottom lane, looks like Pugna is going to be destroyed thanks to the initiation from Fade. So nice wraparound kill here for them. How important is it these days for Earth Spirit to get off to a good start in terms of ganking? Like, is it make or break, or is it okay if he doesn't really contribute that much?
It kind of depends on the game, because certain games, the Earth Spirit's like he's just a really good counter initiator, right? Because the fact that he can pick from afar or like follow up initiate to, I think they have like a good Earth Spirit setup. So this game in particular, I think that he'll do his job despite how good of a start he has. And he's like not the primary source of initiation. If he's like their only catch, then it's super important that he can get like that farm up and get an early blink. They have the LC. But dive again in the top lane, you're power in the early game.
Yeah, press the attack's only going to do so much. Here comes a TP. Might actually get here in time. As Fade looking for FY. FY does have a tether available. Is it going to be in range? Indeed it is. He's going to get stunned, though, in the last second. FY getting blocked by his own teammate. That's going to cause his own demise. Yang not going to go down, and now Chalice might be the one to fall. Yang pops that mango. Not quite enough with the overwhelming odds. He's going to probably die one way or the other, but the question is to whom. Although he does have a TP available, Fade comes in with the roll and finishes him off. So, a little bit too aggressive. They were watching Liquid yesterday, buddy, and maybe too much confidence.
Triple kill and they were ready.
Pretty much. Cam in the mid lane now, though, getting slow, getting completely destroyed by the right clicks of this Terrorblade. Actually, stutter steps. It's going to cause himself to die. FY will barely live thanks to that health cell.
This is what IO does, right? He just shows up in any lane, and suddenly these heroes that are immobile or Terrorblade just slows down with meta. They just have kill threat with the IO bounty hunter, and they have. I think the way that they drafted is really nice because Terrorblade, Pugna, and Beast are all heroes that can kind of play this independent game. They're really survivable laners, like are able to farm well on their own, so they can kind of just do their own thing, and then once the Wisp and the bounty hunters show up, they can look for kills like that. So it's really scary to play against. Hard to know Terrorblade just going to be chilling, farming the whole time, and then suddenly has 2 supports in his lane.
And Chalice already done with his medallion, basically at base at this point. On this Beastmaster, who has the phase boots in tow, and he's completely left alone right now. Level 4, getting close to 5. Will not be pressured, it looks like, anytime soon. Yang will have to TP back from base. He's still getting decent levels, despite not getting off to a great start, thanks to that last engagement. And Sylar in the bot lane, getting pressured off. Level 4 on the Medusa right now. Medusa's just one of these heroes, I feel like there's only one way to build her, almost. Maybe 1.5. Do you feel that's
pretty
true?
much the first item is where the difference is.
Well, bottom lane, we're gonna find initiation is gonna be successful onto. Maybe he gets stunned. Maldic was there, but here comes FY with the heal and the tether. Looks like it'll be enough to keep him alive. DDC now running away with very little HP. Fade's gonna be found out by Nova, who's invisible, of course. The bounty hunter hasn't really done that much this game, at least not yet. Of course, that level 6 is kind of a big deal. And just like that, pretty even game at the start. Although Beastmaster is kind of the beast mode hero right now. Right click in the top lane now. Look at this thing. Oh, I keep forgetting that the axes do amplified damage, or they have a debuff applied.
Yeah, that's pretty nuts when you... did you see the Coddle Beastmaster with the reduced cooldown?
I did not.
At one point, the person had 6 stacks on them. So it has like 72% amp, and you're amping the next axes. Like, the axes were doing so much damage. I couldn't believe it.
I mean, that's always been as Yang's going to be chased down. He's trying to get to the shrine. It's not going to be fast enough, though. Chalice does get found out by Fade. Don't think it's going to be enough to find a kill for himself. He doesn't have full mana, though. Trying to juke out this roll. Here comes the stun to start. Going to pick up that bounty in all likelihood. He's trying to get his way to the shrine. Looks like he will be successful this time around. Medusa, in the meantime, in the bot lane, gets dove from FY and company and taken out.
Yeah, this is what I was kind of scared about with BGJ Thunder's draft. Like, Razor and Medusa are kind of just slower cores, and they're just getting ran at, I think. And they gotta try to stop the bleeding. Like, obviously, it's only 4-3 in kills, but this isn't something that's gonna like slow down for LGD. It's just gonna keep. They have track, and obviously only. They're just gonna be spread really thin on the map because they have such strong split push, map control. LGDs. Heroes like Medusa, if they he's only level 4 to the Pug to level 6.
Yeah.
It's really hard for him to lane anymore.
Yeah, that discrepancy is quite huge. I mean, FY is the same level as Medusa, for God's sake. That's not something you see all too often. Of course, like you said, the lane setup was not the usual. Typically, you'll see Medusa mid, if not even the safe lane. The off lane, technically speaking, this time around. So do you think that was a mistake overall?
I think they had to enable their Razor. Like, he just sucks against Pug. So it's kind of like, it's not up. We're on the top lane.
We're going to see the first roar of the game. Press the attack to follow, though. Yang getting slowed. Looks like he'll be taken out by the last axes. Fade attempting to TP out. Will there be a stun? Oh, actually, it's enough damage with that double kill going the way of Chalice.
Medallion plus that ambush.
Yeah.
I think it's just a better play by LGD to mix up their lanes. Like, BGJ Thunder is forced to adjust, putting the Medusa off lane because they put the Terrorblade mid in the. I think it's more so a correct play.
Dire's top tower is under attack.
I like to hear that. It's always good to give people credit where credit is due. Bot lane Sylar is forced to TP out. Is this Pugna is just dominating this lane right now? Now
that's just the strong independent laners I was talking about. Like if you show up the Beastmaster's lane,
strong independent woman in Medusa.
Rough to play against.
Well, we can have a smoke here as mid lane. Nova knows that there's a sentry there. And the gank will be coming towards the mid lane. Do they have enough damage? They have the stun, that's for sure. Oh, Airblade's going to be backing up, though. Spidey senses are tingling. In fact, I think DDC got spotted. His smoke went out. And on the top lane, another roar coming through into the axes and the right clicks. In fact, it's just a Shuriken Blade. Or the Shuriken toss from...
That's actually so much damage. And with the amp and the minus armor, Legion goes into -3 armor, and then she's also taking 24% extra damage. It's actually nuts.
And doesn't he get the move speed buff with axe or from Roar, right? Move speed buff?
Yes, from Roar.
This hero's been changed so much.
Usually there too, so.
Yeah.
This hero.
Oh, the deny comes out though in the top lane, but Chalice doesn't really care. They're just gonna blow up the Witch Doctor, absolutely no problem. But the Maledict is applied. Is the IO in range? It's gonna be close. Looks like Chalice will finally go down. Now FY trying to tether up his bounty hunter, but that's gonna be another kill run away. BGJ Thunder, a nice turnaround. In fact, it might be 3, and it will. BGJ Thunder coming back in spades.
That's huge.
And they got the denied on the tower too, so that's pretty ginormous turnaround there.
And this is their draft though from LGD. Like meanwhile, like they lost 3 heroes top, but they're just pressuring both mid and bottom towers. They're hard to keep up with. It's like honestly they pretty much stole this from Liquid. Like this is exactly what Team Liquid was doing in all their drafts.
Ooh, another denied tower bottom. Yeah, if you go back, like historically speaking, I want to say Chinese teams do not. I want to say the first 4 years of Dota 2, they don't really respect the Western teams enough to cater their playstyle around any of them.
And they never really play like this either. I usually think of Chinese Dota as like the 5-man heavy. They're playing this like really like Western style split push.
This is like old school CIS almost. There's a nice silence onto maybe. Try to turn it around, but Nether Blast will not connect, and looks like LGD is on the retreat now. As drums are picked up now by the Razor. Comma. He's very fast. Camera. Initiation will not be there. He's going to actually use that drum charge, but to no avail. And the top lane, Chalice is just waiting. Here comes the IO. There's the roar. And he's going to bring some damage. And a nice overwhelming odds, but it's not going to be nearly enough to keep him alive. So kill after kill for LGD, it feels like, with Chalice being the main culprit.
Map presence just insane. You saw that, like, that was just a Beastmaster roaring, and then the guy dies. All the Beastmasters do is... Like, his spidey senses are tingling too, because he is... Maybe out, but it looks like they're going to catch him.
Oh, they're going to slow him. Yeah, he should be a goner. The cask ensuring that the CC is there, but still well worth it. In the meantime, LGD trying to take advantage of the repositioning of the enemies and doing some damage to this tier 1 mid.
Yeah, it feels bad when you get a kill on the enemy core and you're losing a tower for it. Are they going to get another deny?
Oh, nice to Decrepify. Press the attack, not in time.
Yang was not ready for that. He would have instantly...
And the rollout by Fade. Oh, looks like they're going to find Nova with that dust. Maledict is applied. Looks like he's done so. There's the overwhelming odds into a stun as well. Maybe he's going to get dueled. It's going to be enough to get the first duel for Yang and FY. Nobody's tethered to inside the Roche pit. Not quite enough. The ultimate was about to take him back, but enough damage for VGJ Thunder.
LGD, I think, getting a little overzealous movements. I think something we actually saw with Liquid do it too is condition. I think for them to be aggressive in either lane, like with Beastmaster or the Pugna, is the fact that the other hero is also pressuring. So, like, you know, when the Beastmaster dies, the Pugna just power anyway. Beastmaster was dead there, and they made like obviously the bounty hunter got caught, but since the Beastmaster's not pressuring, they're allowed to just 4-man mid.
Oh, mid lane. We're seeing track being used. Shuriken toss as well. There's the slow from Janatis. Not going to be enough, though. Kama is extremely fast. We'll get away as a result, but Fade, in the meantime, gets decrepified. Will they have enough to actually finish him off? Nope, the IO goes back to base. In the meantime, actually doesn't go back to base. He goes to the other side of the cliff here, and they end up getting the kill on Medusa as a result. So not exactly the target they were originally wanting, but I think they'll be happy with that. In the meantime, Pugna gonna get dueled. That's gonna be the second one of the game for Yang. Despite his rough start, does get some damage.
Yeah, that's pretty clever. The Terrorblade got himself low to neutrals.
Oh, is that what?
Yeah.
Here comes the roar onto Witch Doctor, into the axes as well. Drums are popped though. They might be able to turn this around as Chalice is extremely fast thanks to the tether. Is going to walk the opposite direction. The Death Ward is going to be enough to take out the IO, but the Witch Doctor will fall as a result. So 1 for 1. So much action. This is not what I was expecting.
Yeah, I you know, it's hard to discuss anything when there's just constant kills, but when they're not split push pressuring, I feel like LGD's lineup is a little rough because the team fight from Thunder is definitely better. They have like the counter saves to all the initiation from LGD, but I mean, it's just tough to play Medusa in these type of games. You've already lost all your tier 1s. You're getting ran at. Obviously, they cleverly used Terrorblade's Thunder to get that time. I can't imagine when DJ Thunder is going to get a tower. I feel like their lanes are always going to be pushed by the terribly pugnacious Beastmaster, and none of their heroes can really be by themselves.
Isn't the only time that they can do that is when Medusa is just fat and just becomes that siege tank?
Pretty much. I mean, their win condition, or like the way that they take towers, is pretty much, like you said, Medusa farm that they can march down a lane.
And it looks like repositioning in the top lane is Yang. Gonna see the axes come through, and the tower is gonna be applied some pressure at the very least. Of course, Bounty Hunter is in the back, wants to get off that track. Chalice gets off the roar at the last second. Do they have enough damage to actually finish him off? There's press the attack, attempting to run away, but he is completely surrounded, and more than enough damage for LGD as nobody really coming to help. A little bit too late in the form of BGJ, but they're gonna attempt to do this. Going for the Bounty Hunter, that should be an easy one. Medusa and company getting credit for that, but it's a 1-for-1. A lot of forced TPs, and Io gets away.
Creating 1-for-1, you never care that much about losing the Bounty Hunter, and you're just seeing, like, every time there's a kill that happens, like, look at the lanes.
Yeah.
You know, on top lane, all 4 of them are just camping at their tower, Terrorblade's pushing in bottom, Pugna's pushing in mid. It's just so hard to keep up with this lane pressure, and it's a great way to deal with Razor, I think, because he, like, lacks mobility, like split push, and obviously when you first pick a hero, it's really important that the other team seeks to counter it, and this is a very interesting approach.
And maybe right now on the Pugna has the Aether Lens right now, looking for potential kill, but will just farm his way into, I mean, Pugna, I believe Aghanim Scepter is 100% required at some point. Would you agree with that?
At some point, I believe so, yes. But it could be like 4th or 5th item.
This might be a Force Staff, or actually it could.
Fuels, Force Staff. Oh, there's already.
Could be a lot of things. Okay. Now Pugna's gonna get initiated on. Thankfully, he already bought his item. He gets Force Staff on the other side of the cliff, but it's not gonna be enough. Chalice gets off a roar. He's taking so much damage though. His Fade with this ultimate, this Magnetize, doing so much work. That's 2 easy kills. Looks like all they lose is the Witch Doctor, and Terrorblade taken back to the bot lane, where he'll apply some pressure this tier 2.
At least that was a 3-man track kill on the Witch Doctor, so even the support kills add up in that case. But this game is run and gun all day. Looks like they're ready to go on VGJ in the bottom lane. They do have the blink, but canceled by the balls of Wiz.
FY just going to TP out, and wow, this is not great positioning. I don't think they're going to be able to get out. They will just in time for the actual dual damage. That is the 3rd of the game. Still only level 1 ult for Yang on this Legion commander, but does have the Blink Dagger in tow. Will likely go for, I would assume, Blade Mail next.
Yeah, LGD just, I think, like, not to flame, obviously, but you can tell that they're not perfectly clean in their split push. They're, like, getting caught a little bit without even the Legion Blink being used on them yet, and, like, for them to do this split push game effectively, they kind of have to play good cat and mouse, and they're, you know, with the Pugna dying like that at the start of fights, it's really tough for them to maintain the map control. I think VGJ is making good movements here, so.
I love it when...
Maybe gonna get a bottom tower?
Oh, perhaps. The Bounty Hunter was spotted here in the top lane, and these creeps are just taking out this tier 2 very slowly but surely. Looks like it'll end up being denied in all likelihood. They know that he's up here. They have an idea, but no wards other than the ones placed on the ground already. They spawn him again. Looks like he'll be okay. But going back to what you
so much.
Yeah, they do. I've noticed that as well. But going back to what you said, not to flame, not to go off on a tangent, but I always find that hilarious when people say something like, "No offense, but you're an idiot."
Well, I'm trying to like.
You're trying to soften the blow. Is that what you're trying to do?
It's like people get mad at like casters for saying like the players are messing up or something like that.
Well, I'll give you a little insight into that in a second here. We can see some action here onto the Razor gets Force Staff, and not much more than that's going to occur. Looks like. And LGD will be on the backside. Although, do they see Nova?
It's the dust on Bounty Hunter.
Yeah, but he's good right now. What I was going to say is, yeah, you're right. If casters do that, they will get flamed. But you have the very fortunate circumstance of being a pro player, my friend. So it does not matter what you say. loosely doesn't even matter, honestly. It does not matter.
Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough. It's like what I always try to say, at least when I'm like streaming, I'm like, guys, I acknowledge that these guys are probably better than me, but that does not mean, since they are better than me, that they do not mess up.
Right.
Like, you know, every pro team in the world, even the best ones, do mess up. So I do like to take the liberty to flame at all costs if possible.
That sounds good. As Yang, that's going to be a successful smoke gank to get a dual kill. Of course, not the exact target they wanted, but at this point, that was a level 2 duel, so now it has 44 damage. I feel like Yang has had more duel success than I was expecting this game, in all honesty.
Me too, I agree, because they don't really have like burst damage to go with the duel either.
Yeah, and the burst damage this game has been from this Beastmaster with that roar into the Shuriken. Don't know if he was actually tracked.
He purged himself right before he died, so I think that's why. The Legion, I didn't think about it in the draft, but it is a decent counter against the Bounty Hunter because you can just remove the track with press the attack. Airblade is working on Roche right now, starting it by himself.
Figured he would need a Beastmaster with that Solar Crest, but looks like he'll do it anyway.
Yeah, that damage, the attack speed, plus the Vlads and Solar Crest. It goes pretty fast. Looks like
Roche does have 25% status resistance now, though. So that Solar Crest doesn't apply for as long as you might expect. He's getting pretty low.
I didn't even think about that, actually. Good point.
Oh, they're going to be able to take it. No problem. Maledict applied, though. Looks like
bottom lane.
Bounty Hunter will be the sacrifice. And you're right, the bottom lane, they actually go there with the Terror Blade. Fortifications popped. Yang has a duel available. Nice overwhelming odds. See if they can do more than just chip damage here. They have to come back to Roche. Kama and Sylar are here. Looks like they're going to focus on FY, who doesn't really care if he dies, I feel like. 4 seconds on the tether. Not going to be enough, though. Now Terror Blade. So we have a buyback on the Bounty Hunter. And the Pugna not able to finish off Kama as the Force F again being used to full effect. All right, Sunder. Always nice to use that on a Medusa. Don't have to eat through that mana
really
shield.
Cool play by LGD to like they just immediately relocated to bottom lane, pressured in. I don't know who by Pugna. They just like almost took a tier 3 for that. They're like VGJ Thunder's just chasing them, and they have to, and they can't really keep up. So they're up like 2K right now. It comes down to can VGJ pick them off enough to stall the game out to the
I love this Pugna build, by the way. Obviously, Aether Lens is pretty common. He's going to be going for Lincolns. Actually, almost has it. Just needs to finish that ultimate orb, another 1,500 or so. Oh, Nova. You're going to be caught here in this bot lane. Nope, just scouting things out. But basically ensuring, for the most part, that he cannot be dueled so that he can decrepify teammates with the extra range coming out from Aether Lens as well. Does he have
also allows him to Lincoln's the Terror Blade when he's pushing.
Yeah, that's true.
Multiple utilities. You're absolutely right. I think that's a good point. He's the save, right? So as long as he's not the one getting pulled, it's really hard for the Legion to have any effect. That is a really good. Surprisingly.
Go fuck yourself. That's something Synderen would say. We don't know each other well enough. That's okay.
I've watched from Arizona. I feel like I had to at least play me once.
No, I enjoyed that. That was quite good. Maybe in the top lane, ready to go here. Another 300, and he will have that Lincoln Sphere, so probably doesn't want to commit too much. Doesn't want to risk anything, as looks like Beastmaster taken out in the meantime.
Yeah, they used duel, but didn't get the damage from it.
Oh, yeah. All right, well. Looks like VGJ Thunder. As far as their high ground defense goes, how would you say their team fares?
Well, they fare well in one lane, but that's the issue, is they're kind of just separating them right now on LGD. Like, Terrorblade, while the Beastmaster died, just took a tier 3.
Oh. Nice coordination there. Bounty Hunter getting a nice Shuriken toss and the kill with that track gold coming in. And here comes the tower, or the building siege from your Terrorblade. And Kama's going to put himself in an interesting position. He's going to take out FY, no problem. And as a result, Terrorblade, I don't think you're getting out of this big boy. That is the Aegis, though. He will live a little bit longer, but he's going to be completely surrounded without an IO. I don't see him getting out of this. There's the duel, and they have more than enough damage to come out. That is another duel kill for Yang, sitting at plus 58 now.
FY just getting caught a little. I mean, that was a great play by Razor. He just like walked in from the side and immediately focused the IO, barely killing him before the relocate went off. And It's like one of those things where the IO, if the IO is alive, this Terrorblade's pretty much unkillable. It's kind of like a Dazzle Huskar scenario where if you don't kill the Dazzle, you're never killing the Huskar. So the fact that they're able to focus down on FY, I think he should be a little bit more careful with his overall positioning on the Wisp. But I mean, that was Aegis there, so that's really huge. Like every time you get these kills against these type of lineups, it just kind of slowly relieves your map pressure coming from the enemy team. Really important that VGJ does this. He's going for
Spirit Vessel now picked up.
Well.
Oh, is he? Oh, okay. So kind of a later Lincolns than you're used to. I mean, this is kind of the new build, I guess, with the Master Madness to start. I'm going very defensive though, not a whole lot of damage to speak of.
I think they kind of win the longer fights on the side of VGJ. They get all their heroes kind of benefit for like Earth Spirit over time does a lot of damage. Or same with Razor, and so I think as long as they feel like they survive the initiation and the burst from LGD, they'll win fights is what they're thinking. So, you know, Medusa can build damage later. Doesn't really need it just yet. What his thought process is.
Chalice just chilling out in the bot lane. I still can't get used to this this new Call of the Wild. It's not even that new anymore, but just having a tomato as your teammate must feel so good. Why don't they give you Wild Wing Ripper? Did you ever notice that? It's the one creep that they left out.
Can you not get it?
No, it's the one creep that you're unable to get, and I don't know why.
Maybe they thought
everybody's serious because it. I thought, okay, so everybody else I've talked to says because it sucks, and I'm like, I don't know, it's not the worst. It's 2 armor. You get that. I mean, that tornado's really freaking.
Yeah, I was gonna say like early game, if you were to go 1-4-1, which nobody really goes right now, but Wild Wing Rippers at Wild Wing Rippers at that stage in the game are impossible to deal with. So I don't know. It's a good question. Don't ask me.
I ask really good questions that are unanswerable.
Those are the best questions. Make you think.
Yeah. All right, well, Bounty Hunter right now.
First item really on Razor. He did go for the Hurricane Pike first, but the Shiva's is quite interesting. Good against the Terrorblade, Beastmaster, but it's just an interesting item choice. It's obviously pretty common on Razor. It synergizes well with your Plasma Field because it basically makes your Plasma Field like a slow. Very similar in how they expand together. But
all right, here's a question for you, buddy. Have you, looking at the Razor, have you ever seen anybody in a pro game upgrade their drums? Replenish it. I've
never seen it. I've seen it like once, and it was one of those things where you are defending your high ground against all-on push from the enemy team or something, and you have like 1,000 gold, no buyback, and you just buy an extra drum charge.
I feel like it's not that bad. It's not bad enough that it's happened one time. You know what I mean?
I know what you're saying. I know what you're saying. I've thought about this before.
Because they keep nerfing, or they keep buffing the
active.
No, the actual price. Like it costs.
Oh yeah, you're right. You're right. It has gotten a lot cheaper.
I actually have no idea how much it is right now.
$575.
Yeah. Okay. It used to be 800 back in the day. So.
Yeah. You're right. It used to only give like 4 charges too. So it's kind of. Maybe it's just a thing people got used to knowing that it's so bad to upgrade that they never really thought to upgrade.
Dude, this is going to be TI8 meta, upgrading drums. It's going to be legit.
Pick supports that continuously upgrade their drums.
Yeah, that's all. They don't buy any items. They just upgrade their drums over and over.
Yeah, and can you like lock combining on a drum and then have the recipe like sitting in your backpack ready to?
Yes, absolutely. I'm pretty sure you can lock any item.
Yeah, I'm just saying I don't know if it prevents like the recipe from you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. It may never have been tested ever in the history of Dota. So
yes,
we can test that out later. Here, Chalice comes in with the roar. Do they have enough damage? Nope. Press the attack is there. Overwhelming odds onto 2 into a Maledict, and the Shiva is providing enough space. Looks like they'll be able to get FY at the very least. So VTJ Thunder doing a great job of turning these fights around. They're going to get a dual kill on this Bounty Hunter as well, and Yang is up to plus 72 damage.
And that's why they picked the Legion, right? Because the Beastmaster War would have been a nice kill on the Razor, but he just gets instantly pressed the attacked, and they turn the fight. So really seeing that pick pay off. I really thought of it as like a defensive Legion, but suddenly this Legion, like we talked about earlier, has 72
kind of both right now.
Yeah, I did not expect this to be a dual damage Legion this game, but that damage adds up in these kind of games. Like he can be a 3rd core when he has has that dual damage.
It's almost, it reminds me a bit of, I mean, I'm trying to think of another hero other than Abaddon with the aphotic shield. You can take off roar, track, all this stuff, and then you can build him as a carry, but of course, it doesn't depend on you dueling anybody. It's just such a weird mechanic.
Yeah, it is. I mean, Legion and Abaddon are very, very comparable. It's kind of like one where if you have other forms of initiation, then Abaddon's generally better. But if you don't, if you need initiation, then Legion can generally be better. The heroes are very, very similar in the way they want to play. Usually they like to sit behind their cores, but the difference is that Abaddon can't really get gone on himself, while Legion can. But then Legion gets the aggressive potential. Kind of cool. Legion's a weird hero, man. That hero's, I don't know. It's hard to understand her, or hard to see her impact on games. But I like that she's just kind of following her support, Earth Spirit here, looking to follow up. They're trying to catch. They catch the Beastmaster actually. Well,
he's just gonna TP out, and he will be successful. And it was a really good scan too, but not able to find the kill.
The value tomato man was canceling the Legion blink.
Right, tomatoes. Everybody's least favorite vegetable, so it's understandable.
Isn't it a fruit?
Yeah, but if I say it's a fruit, people are gonna find it is weird to say it's a fruit, though. I can't. I know that was like news 20 years ago, but I still can't get used to it.
There's a stigma to like fruits being good and vegetables being bad, and nobody likes tomatoes.
You can't, like, biting into a tomato is not like biting into an apple. You know,
this is true.
Just disgusting.
True. Kind of like biting into broccoli, though. I could see that.
Broccoli is a weird one, though.
I like. Did
you know
broccoli.
you can eat? Have you ever had? You've had kiwi before, I'm guessing.
Yes, yes.
Do you like kiwi?
Yes.
I love kiwi. Apparently,
kiwi
you
delicious.
can eat it with the skin on. I've never tried it, but people do that. Apparently.
Is it healthier?
I don't know, but it won't kill you. That's what I know. It won't. It's not enough to kill you. So I'm
sure those are just the furries out there that.
It does fit the lore, so understandable. All right, Lincoln's now picked up on the Terrorblade. We'll be going for Butterfly next. Lots of Lincolns.
A lot of Lincoln spheres this game.
Yeah.
Duel is a scary thing for Terrorblade. The way Terrorblade usually itemizes is that they just don't want to die before they get Sunder off, and the only way that's going to happen is if he gets dueled. Generally, the only time you really see Lincolns on Terrorblade is against like Legion and Doom.
You know what the other item that's being picked up this game a lot? Let's see. We got Aghanim's Scepter coming up on Kama, apparently. Who else was queuing it up? I think a Beastmaster. Oh, he switched it up into the Halberd. He was actually thinking about Aghanim's on Beastmaster. I don't know if I've ever seen that.
Is it just a lower cooldown? What is it?
It's like a longer range, maybe lower cooldown?
Yeah, it is lower. I haven't seen a Beastmaster Ags in a long time.
It's underwhelming, but certain times
it's kind of one of those like old boring Ags before they started making Ags cool.
Yeah.
I know you're
just, they've forgotten about it.
You're a professor in the art
I'm an Ags aficionado is what you're trying to say.
Oh, okay, there you go. There you go. I couldn't think of the right word.
I'm allowed to call myself an aficionado when nobody else cares about it. So
okay, got it.
My own specialty. But speaking of that, Pugna did pick up his, so he is going to be dealing... Well, it's not more damage now. Well, technically it is because he can recast it, but the benefit, of course, no cooldown now.
Oh, I guess, yeah, you said that in the past. I didn't realize. I guess that makes sense that they made it so it just does more damage without the Axe, then they didn't buff it so the Axe does more.
Yeah.
This game really has slowed down a bit just because the team that wants to apply all the split push pressure is now vulnerable to like dying to the Legion Commander, and the Razor's getting really tanky at this point with the Halberd of his own. Going for Lincoln Sphere himself, at least has it queued up. A lot of Lincoln Spheres again. Deuce has a full Butterfly, very tanky himself, really starting to do damage.
Okay, we're forced to relocate out here in the mid lane, surprisingly enough. Not a whole lot of damage actually being done, and I think VTJ Thunder, they're going to attempt to surround this IO and try to get a freebie. Oh, the duel! It's a long range one because he runs away, but it looks like it'll be enough, as that is now 86 damage for Yang.
Roche is the primary objective, I think, for both teams, so we're going to be seeing, I think, LGD try to split push as much as possible, while VGJ, if possible, is just going to force the issue here. They do have the Medallion on Witch Doctor. I like that pickup because they have very little Roche damage.
The reflections there doing a decent amount of damage, and I think VGJ Thunder
hurts, man.
Yeah.
Everybody.
They're going to think better of this. It is a 5v4. No IO. But it's not... You're not missing a core. And they have to defend these lanes now. Especially top.
Yeah, they just gotta buy time until the IO is alive. Just making sure VGJ doesn't bring down the Roche themselves. I'm sure we'll pretty much be seeing these two teams play exclusively around Roche until some fight breaks out.
I need to refresh myself on this Aghanims for Beastmaster. Are we correct? Did you double check? It's the cooldown.
Yeah, I checked it. It's a lower cooldown. It goes from 70 to 45. And the cast range is longer.
Okay, it's like 700 to 1100, something like that.
It goes to 950. I don't know what the original cast range is.
Okay.
I've played probably 2 games of Beastmaster myself, though.
Really? That's a little surprising.
I mean, he requires micro, so...
Yeah, but in the old days, I mean, now more than ever, but the old days, not... I wouldn't say he really required that much micro.
That's true. I used to... Okay, I will say I played some Sing Sing inspired Beastmaster back in the day where you used to go like Mask of Madness, Shadowblade, Daedalus, and...
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah,
that's how you should play.
Is that really Beastmaster, though?
It kind of is. Alright, Roshan's pretty low. Metamorphosis is popped. Chalice, oh, he blinks in, but doesn't get off a roar. Like he lost vision or something like that. Tracks are being placed to get rid of these Lincoln Spheres. The roar should be available to use now, but of course, press the attack is always there. I hear a duel going off. It's going to be onto this. Pugny gets taken out by Io. Sylar and company's going to pop his ult, attempt to take this Roshan. He's going to get the Aegis. Looks like the stun on top of Beastmaster is going to cause his ultimate demise. Does get off the roar before his ultimate death, but there's the press the attack again to take that bad boy off. Terrorblade on the high ground, being chased by Kama. I don't know if he's actually going to pursue here. Maybe in company, fighting it on the other side. Kama just getting destroyed thanks to the Sunder and the Force Staff. That should be enough for the kill onto Terrorblade. Nice Force Staff keeping Nova alive. FY stuck on a fucking cliff now. Well, he's not going to be scouted out quite yet. Yang does have the blink available, but no duel for 10 seconds could potentially just save that. As this Pugna looks to be super dead. Gets Force Staff to safety for now, but the last right click will suffice. And FY finally gets found out, but there's the tether. Gets dusted. DDC. Yang really wants this duel. He has enough mana for it, and there you go. Another duel kill for Yang, who has just come back big time in this game. Jesus, that fight was insane.
Yeah, that was a long one. There's like so many fights going on at once, and the nature of the heroes in this game are just so skirmishy. So you're just seeing literally 2 or 3 fights going on at all times. It's hard to keep up, but the Razor, I was kind of surprised he chased after the Terrorblade with no help because, you know, like you saw, he just turned it with the Sunder and
he was acting like he had a Lincoln's. I had to double check.
I mean, even if he has a Lincoln's, he just has a Hurricane Pike on the Terrorblade, so he just breaks it. So kind of interesting choice there. But at the end of the day, obviously, if you look at the lineups, I think VGJ just has the clear team fight advantage. In the draft, we kind of talked about how LGD has like the split push advantage. So if there's no waves getting split pushed and VGJ is not forced to be chasing you around, I think they kind of just win these 5-on-5s. So very indicative when you saw that last fight. Medusa did lose the Aegis. Cheese was given to Razor. So not too bad for the side of LGD, but for these split push type lineups against a hero like Medusa, I think the game just becomes harder and harder because Medusa will just at one point be able to just walk down a lane and end it. Can't fight her.
Sylar with 2 sets of boots now. Boots of travel and phases. DDC's going to be found out here. There's a Force Staff on the Terrorblade. Press the attack's going to keep DDC alive a little bit longer, and the Force Staff as well. Just seeing the lack of damage from LGD. Not able to really burst anybody down. They could really use a Dagon on somebody.
Pugna's a legitimate Dagon hero.
Yes, he is.
But he looks like he's going for the sheep. I think they more so realize they have no disable.
There's the roar. Press the attack again. Sylar's going to pop his ult. Here comes the duel. It looks like that's going to be a dead Pugna. Fade going to drop to the reflection, so it's a 1-for-1. That might break things up as it looks like Bounty Hunter died on the backside as well. Yang, no duel for another 35 seconds, but Kama and company are super healthy. FY is going to get cast. Blink out is going to sacrifice his teammate. That's a 3-for-1 for VGJ Thunder. We're just winning every fight right now.
Yeah, that Earth Spirit actually died exclusively to reflection. That was pretty funny actually. But I just don't think LGD can fight them. I think they kind of have to, as hard as it may be now with the Legion getting all this dual damage and the Medusa being able to be on her own for the most part, I think they have to try to split up this map more and not the flame. No, I'm kidding. But at the same time, I feel like you can tell the bit of inexperience with this type of playstyle, because I just feel like a team like Liquid, who's played this playstyle so many times, wouldn't be taking all these fights. Like they can't really win these 5v5s. They didn't have meta there, and they're just forcing fights that I don't think they can win. So I think they can still win, but they have to stop colliding with VGJ head on, because if Legion's there, their only form of initiation on LGD is the roar, and then you saw there every time Yang doing a very good job of just always press the attacking the target, or the roar target. So it's like impossible for LGD to really focus anyone because they only have one stun. It's just hard to fight.
I want to be wrong about this Ags, dude, on Chalice, but there has to be better items you can get on Beastmaster this game.
It's like I agree. I actually think Sheepstick would probably be my choice over the Ags, just because it's not purgeable.
Oh, Yang, he's looking for the duel, takes off the Lincolns, and FY with the save.
Wow, that was clutch.
That was nice. And
are they going to fight this? No, they're not. They're giving up on it.
FY will sacrifice his life in all likelihood, but no dual damage, so that's something.
Oh, the tether on the terrible hit.
But there's the cast, and down he goes.
That was cute. That was creative, though.
3 and 12, so 12 deaths on the IO this game. Poor FY.
Generally, that just tells you how many times your cores have been out of position.
Yeah, it's all the core's fault.
Yep. Unless it's me.
Yeah, of course. All right, this tier 2 tower is dead. Sylar is now level 25. Of course, went for the split shot, uses modifiers. Not sure that nerf was quite very substantial in the patch. 100 less mana on the 800 mana tower
instead of 2,000. Rough.
Pretty, yeah, a real shame. Have you ever seen anybody take the opposing? Oh, we have another duel. I don't think he's going to get this in time, but they should be able to find the kill regardless, and indeed they do. Have you ever seen anybody take the opposite, the Stone Gaze duration talent over 700 mana? Ever?
I have not. I feel like it's like, the way I look at these type of talents is one of them is effective all the time, and the other one's effective during a specific ability usage kind of thing.
Yeah, but if they buffed it to, let's say, 4 seconds, then would you reconsider? Like, what's your threshold that you would actually stop?
That's tough. I actually think, for me, 4 seconds is a long time. I actually just think in this specific case, like there's other heroes that have this example, I think the 700 mana is actually just so much that it's like hard to.
What if it was 30 seconds extra?
Okay,
what'd you do?
Fine.
So there is a number.
If you want to.
All right.
Okay, yeah, I guess. Okay, so Glyph's 5 seconds, so if you have it for like 15, you could probably take any set of buildings, like total seconds of 15, so I guess 8 seconds on the buff would be adequate for me.
Ice Frog, I hope you're watching.
Yeah.
Need a little bit of a buff on that talent.
Let's not nerf the other talent, let's just make that 8 seconds.
I mean, that's kind of what he does though, right? That's his style in a lot of cases, where he doesn't nerf the thing that makes him the hero. He just buffs everything else. Oh, Terrorblade getting caught out. Maledict is applied. There's the duel into the Death Ward, and that is more than enough damage. 100 seconds on the deck, no buyback.
Yeah, you see the tables have just turned here. Like, the team with the split push threat is VGJ now. They're the ones that can pick off LGD. They've built really good items on their cores, or on their catch, I guess you could say. Inside of VGJ, he has the Blink Shadow Blade on the Legion, super mobile, and then the Halberd to break the Lincolns. And then Medusa obviously is just walking down lanes at this point. Has AK gold.
He that's always nice to have.
That. Yeah, saving up for kids' college, I believe.
Yeah, she has a lot of kids, so it makes sense.
Yes.
She's a whore. That's in the lore as well.
Is it actually?
No.
Okay, I don't want to question you on this stuff, because probably the,
No, I don't know anything about lore. That's a Slacks thing. Completely. 100%. So 46 seconds, no Terror. That's a free Rax. It should be too, honestly.
There's no buyback, and Medusa at this point is.
And they know for sure that he doesn't have buyback, or else he would have done so by now. And that's a 2-lane Rax advantage for VGJ Thunder. Oh, we're going to have a duel again. FY will be He's sacrificed for the 13th time, I believe. And they're actually going to find the bounty hunter as well. So LGD is just falling apart at the seams. Double kill for Kama. I hear a roar. And nothing's going to happen with it.
They do get bottom racks for the side of LGD, but I don't know if that really does anything.
Okay. Maybe. Level 24. Once he gets that level 25 talent, he can start doing even more of that. He's going to TP out to safety. So it's a 2-for-1 on the racks. But still, 11k advantage for VGJ. And it's hard to envision a scenario where they lose this game. Terrorblade needs to have buyback.
I feel like they're just going to march down top lane as like a group. That's kind of how I feel this will go. Maybe they'll wait for Roche. Roche is up. Terrorblade has an Arcane Rune. They're doing Roche themselves, so good play, I think. It doesn't look like VGJ is actually ready for this. I think this is a little sloppy. I think they should know that this is potentially up, and they're just not even close to it, so they have no way of getting there.
All right, that's the first rule of coming back in the game is get your Roshan kills. This one has the cheese and the refresher shard. We're gonna see a double primal roar. Oh, if they can do this, this will be pretty huge. But buybacks are there for the majority of VGJ. Here we go. There's the roar onto Razor. The amplified damage from the axes taking a lot of damage, but he gets force staff to safety. Here's the counter initiation. Stylar still holding that stone gaze. FY is his ultimate activated. Like Terrorblade with that Maledict looking for a Thunder. Gets off the reflection first. There's the Thunder onto Sylar. He's got to get his way out of there. Still relatively healthy overall. There's the Thunder again. That's the level 25 talent coming to fruition for that Terrorblade. Now Kama and company, still, they're not dead. They got pretty close. Chalice has absolutely no mana. I think he actually he must have gotten 2 roars off, but they do take 1 kill. That's Witch Doctor does have buyback. And they're going to try to get this tier 2 and more.
Yeah, it looks like they gave the refresher shard to Beastmaster, which I'm kind of surprised about. I feel like Terrorblade's one of the best refresher shard carries in the game, just with the double meta. It will be running out, but it was Arcane Rune meta. This is suddenly looking pretty good for LGD. They don't have meta for another 50 seconds, though.
Yes, I don't... Can they push with that meta? Yeah, I'm surprised they gave that to the refresher, not to him. That would have been pretty huge.
The reflection is super powerful, I will say. He took the talent that makes it only a 6-second cooldown.
Stone Gauge still has not been used, by the way, this whole fight. Tossed him a buyback on Witch Doctor, so that's something. There's more pressure being applied to the top lane. I hear a roar, this time on Witch Doctor. That'd be a big kill, it'd be a dieback, but he gets out to safety thanks to the press the attack. Cast coming in, gonna bounce left, right, and center. Sylar still with that Stone Gauge. They're gonna use it in conjunction with that duel, but the save for now, just to the other side of the trees, is enough to save his life. There's a disarm. Halberd coming into play again. This fight is so chaotic. That's a dieback on a Witch Doctor. The 5v4 advantage of LGD. Can they get more is the question. Yang taken out by maybe with that ult. Double buyback for VGJ. Sylar needs to get out. Has absolutely no mana. There's a Metamorphosis pop. That's a mid-rack, easy peasy for LGD. Question is, do they just go for end? Yeah, I was going to say. They're going to go for the top rack.
The top tower is low, so they're just going to take megas.
This is the mega creeps for LGD. What an amazing comeback in this last couple minutes. Here's the roar. Onto Sylar, gets force staff to safety. Relative safety to tier 4 at this point, but your base is getting completely decimated. He has buyback. We'll have to use it right away. And without that ultimate, I think this is going to be GG for LGD after I said it's pretty much not going to happen.
I agree.
That's why I'm not the analysis on that. All right.
That's what I get for agreeing with you, I guess.
You've learned your lesson. It's okay. Thunder comes out again, and Razor and company VGJ Thunder will lose this game, which looked almost unlosable. That is crazy. Buybacks galore now. LGD look to be finishing off these racks as Sylar finally taken out. That is a dieback. And GG's come out. Of course, it's a best of 1 in this group stage. So LGD gets the better GJ. Jeez. H. Horse.
Wow. That was a... So I'll just take the credit for predicting LGD would win it at the start.
I technically said that too. Yeah.
Yeah. So we got it right from the beginning. We just got a little we lost our faith during the fact that VGJ just was able to take the 2 lanes of racks. I guess that lane of racks
Dire team ban. Radiant team. Dire team ban. Radiant team ban.
Alright, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this is between Team Eclipse and LGD Forever Young. It is, of course, Michael Phoenix, joined by John Expired. John, how are you feeling after that first game, good sir?
You know, I'm feeling great, Mike. It's nice to see LFY doing quite well, I'll be honest. Back when the TI7 Battle Pass was up, and RIP Battle Pass, but when it was up, during that period, you know, the trading cards were coming out, right, Mike? So you remember that. When I opened my packs, and, you know, everyone had a line of cards which were all gold, mine was LFY, so, and everyone was laughing at me for having all gold LFY, but I was quite glad in the early parts of TI, and it's nice to see this roster working out. Of course, a lot of favorites in that stack, but, you know, this is the, what is this, the closed qualifiers, first stage, and all of these teams have been proven. They've gone through the open qualifiers, they've faced off against the best of the best in that series in China, so all the teams here being top teams in the region, and it's nice to see LFY kind of picking up the pace, but it's not like Keen Gaming was a very easy team to play against. They did, they gave up a good fight, but LFY just showed us that they have the cohesiveness to work together, and it's kind of surprising, isn't it, Mike? Because this stack of LFY is still fairly fresh.
Well, first of all, John, thank you for the nostalgia of battle passes and the cards. Those were fun. Definitely a bit of fantasy was always good. Yes, I would agree with you. Like, considering there, you know, it's look, 3 of the players are still the same, and Super, you know, obviously just returned. Ohio is very new, but yes, you are correct. With a new stack like this, the coordination they have, it's not perfect, but it seems to work. Like, they seem to understand what they need to do as a team to pull the game through. We saw last game, they were up against King Gaming in the best of 1, which they did come through as the winners, and I mean, it was a matter of King Gaming, you know, being the more aggressive in the early game. It looked like they were just going to take over, but ultimately the farm was on the side of LGD, and they did pull through. And John, I mean, you know, I'm not exactly surprised to say we see the Naga Disruptor come out again.
Yeah, I mean, it's not a surprise at this point, Mike, and LFY once again showing us that they really don't care for that combo. I mean, they just played it last game. They didn't ban out the Naga, they didn't ban out the Disruptor, and now they just let it through again, and we'll see if LFY will respond appropriately. They do start with a Tiny, compared to the last game where they did start with the Brewmaster. And, you know, there's still a lot of options to play against this combination. Of course, this combination being very popular now thanks to Newbie, but I'm sure this combo has been around for a bit longer. But yeah, Newbie propelled it to the front stage, and now everyone's been kind of trying it out. It is a very strong combo if played proper, but again, it does have its downsides. It's very cooldown reliant, and it's just that it requires the enemy team to really be in a pretty tight position. So we'll see if LFY responds with the same picks. I'm guessing we might actually see the Elder Titan again, but we'll see if they mix it up.
I'm a bit shocked, you know, the Tiny is not something you... Oh my. See, this is where we start questioning John. Is it gonna be Arfu on the Earth Spirit? Because he is the position 5 now. Or are they gonna let Yao play it? I, personally, and this is no offense to Yao at all, but how the hell can you not let Afu play Earth Spirit?
Yeah, I agree with you in that sentiment, Mike. I mean, we've seen Afu do so much work, and this is a hero that I believe he does play very well as well, Mike.
Oh, bloody fantastic, John.
I do like this pickup. I think we've actually seen the Earth Spirit go against a Naga Siren Disruptor combo, and if I recall right, it did work out well for the team to pick it up. I'm trying to recall what series, but I feel like it was from Genting, but I can't be sure if it was the Naga Siren. But the Earth Spirit itself does a lot of work, and this opening from LFY really doesn't have any weaknesses so far. I mean, the Earth Spirit brings a lot to the table, the Tiny also brings a lot of burst and control, and it's still very flexible, very easy to draft around. So I do like this opening from LFY. Eclipse opening with the more, you know, it's a more blatant pairing, the Naga Siren Disruptor, which is very well rounded in its own right. The issue I have with this opening, and we kind of saw it in the last game, Mike, early on, the Disruptor really doesn't do too much, and the Naga Siren as well. Like, to get that lockdown really going, you need probably level 3 in both of these supports. So that very early game, if pressured hard, it's going to be hard to defend against ganks, mainly because it takes a bit for the Naga Siren Disruptor to be really potent.
No, it absolutely does. Now, I like this Underlord pickup, John. I mean, the thing is, you know, if you get a song and a Static Storm, you've also got the Pit of Malice and Firestorm now. Like, there's just so much there. Not to mention, the song works very well with the ulti of Underlord, where of course you can just TP the hell out. So there's none of this, you know, song and run away and hope everyone eventually gets out. It's more so you've got a guaranteed way of getting out of the situation if it turns bad. So I like this pickup coming out from Eclipse. This makes the combination appear more, like, it's much more appealing to me now. But at the same time, it's almost like you have ways to escape, but you're going to need something to deal with, you know, what LGD Forever Young going to be bringing out. Like, you can't just run away the whole time. So we'll see what Eclipse try to do to manage this. We do have a Shadow Shaman pickup, so there's the position 5 of LFY. But still, I like what Eclipse is doing. I need to see more aggression. Because right now, although it can be aggressive, you'd have to agree with me, it seems more like they're just ensuring they can get the hell out.
Yeah, absolutely, Mike. I mean, the Naga Siren Underlord combo is actually something I'm surprised we don't see more of. Like, we usually see the Naga Siren and the Disruptor, but the Underlord, I think we've only seen it, what, once? Twice in combination with the Disruptor and Naga Siren. So I feel like it's a combo that works really well. I'm glad to see it come out here. I like the pickup of Queen of Pain as well. It adds some much-needed burst for Eclipse, some much-needed damage for them as well. But LFY going with the Medusa, it's a hero we've seen a bit of, but it kind of tapered out in the past week at the very least. And, you know, could have something to do with slight nerfs to jungle, the slight nerfs to hero itself. The talent did just take a hit in the recent patch, but I feel like as a hero it's still very strong. You just kind of need to change the tempo just a bit with that hero on.
Yeah, look, absolutely. I mean, I like the Queen of Pain. I was just saying to you, John, like, they need more damage. They need something. There is so much wombo combo from Eclipse right now. Like, if you connect everything together, I mean, LFY are just gonna melt. Apart from maybe the Medusa, but then again, if Medusa's the only one left, that's no problem either. Mind you though, I also don't mind the Medusa, right? Because we saw this before, like, you give Monet the space, he gets the farm out of nowhere, and then suddenly you can't deal with him. You know, we had the same thing with the Phantom Lancer. We might see it again with the Medusa, unless of course Super's playing it, but I'm somewhat doubtful. I feel like Super will probably, you know, play something that can really, like, more so initiate and control the tempo, rather than playing this, you know, farm heavy kind of carry that Monet specializes in. But both teams look very powerful. I'm more intrigued to see if Eclipse can land all these abilities perfectly, because it's not easy. They have the proper setup in the song, so they can make it happen. There's no doubt about that. It's going to be one wild game. That's all I can see right now. Like, it's going to be absolutely insane.
Yeah, absolutely, Mike. I agree with you. The one thing you mentioned, like seeing Super and Medusa, yeah, I agree. It's not really a superhero. I feel like Super as a player, as you mentioned, enjoys jumping in much more. I mean, in the last game, his DK responded so much to all the ganks, to all the 4-man ganks onto Monet, that just his presence blinking in with that BKB and stunning up on his DK. It was just really wild. LFY closing out with the Doom. Probably it looks like we will go with a mid Tiny. No, it is the Super Medusa. So, and a change of pace for him, which is rather surprising.
Yeah, I don't know why they're going with this. Like, it's Monet is, you know, it's one of those things, right? Like, is Monet going to be really roaming a lot with that Tiny, or is he going to sit down and farm the whole time? Like, we've seen farm Tinies, they become uncontrollable as well. Like, there's no doubt about that. If you get the crazy farm, you're gonna, like, they're not going to be able to kill you. But at the same time, is like, you kind of want him to go and make things happen across the map as a Tiny as well, because the main man you want, right, is Super on the Medusa to get that farm. And that last pick in the Doom I thought was quite nice, up against the Queen of Pain, you know, up against even the Naga, the Underlord. Like, these are all very nice picks to make. Just a bit concerned about what this Tiny is going to be doing this game.
Mike, I feel like Eclipse has a really nice draft. Closing it out with Luna gives them a lot of push and a lot of team fight. Like, really, all of their spells, all of their ultimates are pretty big AoE, and they do a lot of damage. So a 5v5, if taken right, I'd heavily favor Eclipse.
Well, John, let's call out the players in the draft, because there's a quick smoke, and in fact, they're both running right at each other in the mid lane. There might be a massive team fight going on right now, so we might just hold out on the player names. It looks like Arfu will be on the Earth Spirit as well, mind you, and he will spot it out. This might give us a bit of time now, because obviously the smoke gank is somewhat ruined for both teams. But we do have Sep, who will be playing the Naga. We do have the Underlord being played by Mini. The Queen of Pain will be played by Ghost. Hyde will be on the Disruptor, and finally we do have Shadow playing the Luna and the Dire, if you could please, John.
Alright, on the Dire side for LFY we have Yao on the Shadow Shaman, Earth Spirit being played by Afu, Medusa being played by Super, the Tiny being played by Monet, and that Doom is being played by Ohio.
I'm glad to see, at the very least, John, that they have put Afu on that Earth Spirit. Like, again, I was not doubting Yao's ability to play the hero, but there's a certain level like you have to be at to be like a god tier Earth Spirit, and I think Afu is at that level. Like, I don't think you get somebody else to place a hero like that's gonna have so much impact on the game that isn't at that level when you've got a player that can do it.
Absolutely. I mean, we've seen Afu do work with it before, and it's a treat to see him on here again.
It is really a treat. I look forward to it. Getting a few tips off the man, but let's see how it goes. He will rotate to the mid lane to try and be a Pain to Ghost, who's on the Queen of Pain. So there's not really, you know, any real chance of him getting a kill on the Queen of Pain, of course, because, you know, there is going to be a blink available eventually. But Afu always wants to be there just to really ensure he can't just sit there and free farm the whole time.
Yeah, it does look that way. They do rotate Sep on the Naga over to mid, and we have another pause coming out.
Yeah, that's fine. Looks like Yao's having a few issues with the internet, so he will disconnect. When you look at this top lane as well, John, it's rather interesting because they have Ohio there on the Doom, and Yao is also there to support, and rather Shadow on the Luna will be there with his support, Hyde on the Disruptor. And so they've made these lanes rather interesting, because it's like, with a Doom, we all know it's not that easy to kill a Doom, right? He's going to have the Devour, he's going to have the Scorched Earth. You know, he's going to be fine. He's probably going to be able to sustain in lane just fine. Especially if he steals the right creeps. You know, you've got so many options of neutrals to take. And, you know, some help you sustain, some help you some help you nuke, some help you set up with, you know, with disables. Just depends what you want. But they're not really going to be able to kill him, so it's rather interesting. And they've put, you know, Monet in the off lane as the Tiny up against the Underlord. Now that one I think Eclipse might have the advantage in, because it's like a Tiny versus Underlord, probably not going to work out too well for the Tiny. So some interesting laning going on.
Yeah, I agree with you, Mike. I'm not sure about laning Tiny versus Underlord 1v1. especially if it gives Underlord the chance to really just max Firestorm, completely ignore the pit, and maybe get a couple of points in Atrophy Aura. And that's not going to be easy for the Tiny to deal with. It is a melee hero, and his nukes aren't long-range either, so if he goes up to last hit, he will be hit by that Firestorm, and you know, a lot of his HP will be taken off. So it's some interesting laning choices from both teams.
Yeah, it is very strange to say the least, but we'll see how they work out. It's almost a matter of who can outplay the other to really take over, and we're going to find out soon, I'm very sure. I think we can already see LFY, they're probably going to be comfortable again with just making sure they get the farm this game, rather than actually trying to make too many plays around the map. And you probably see Eclipse probably want to do like a similar thing with the Luna. So it's going to be one of those games where it's like, all right, who's going to win this mid to late game? That's where it's going to matter.
Yeah, it definitely looks like it. I mean, both teams aren't really going for too much early aggression. Some pokes here and there, but none of them really going in for the kill. So it's a fairly passive early game. I mean, we're 2 minutes in. First Blood's not there yet. It's not too late for that, but you know, usually you see a bit more active plays in this patch.
Well, I think we're gonna have to keep an eye on Arfu. Knowing this man, he is an aggressive Earth Spirit. Like, he doesn't like to waste any time, like, you know, really not doing anything, and he'll already go down onto Mini. We do see Mini there as well with the tree grab. He does have the avalanche and does commit it, and a lot of damage is being done to Mini. This could be a first blood here. Fu, he's waiting on the roll, and the salve is used by Mini, understanding he can outrun the Earth Spirit. And top lane, looks like they will actually drop the Shadow Shaman as well. Sep actually picks that one up, so the first blood does go to the way of Eclipse rather than LFY. That was, I mean, it was darn close, right? Like, they almost had Mini, but it's an Underlord. You know, he's got a salve, he walks way too fast for an Earth Spirit to catch up with unless he has the roll. And it was a nice little play from Mini, and I guess Eclipse just capitalized on it while all that's going on.
Yeah, it definitely does look like it. Afu now rotating to mid. Doesn't quite land in the quap, but yeah, it's enough. Harass him out, grab a level for yourself, and try again. Top lane though, Ohio in trouble.
Yeah, it looks like he will drop. He did use the Scorched Earth. I mean, it's not really enough for level 1. He did actually end up throwing the Shockwave out because he knew he was dead. And John, he has actually opted for that the Satire with the Unholy Aura. That 5.5 HP regen obviously helps sustain in the lane quite a lot. But not this time. Like, not when you've got 3 heroes there that can, you know, ensnare you and glimpse you back. It's not going to be enough to sustain in the lane. It looks like, however, they might find Sep, but the rest of the heroes are there again. They are going to roll in onto him, though. He is shackled up, and Sep should just die here. Beautiful Boulder Smash. Actually connects on 2 from Arfu. Hyde will manage to back off. It is only a level 2 Boulder Smash, so it only does last for a second in terms of stun, but those are the things you got to worry about, John. Those are very calculated Boulder Smashes he throws out. Like, he always seems to know where the other supports are behind, and he always manages to get them somehow.
Yeah, absolutely. Afu's game sense is definitely up there, and you know, having that good game sense really helped you with the Earth Spirit because it's such a high skill ceiling hero, so having that awareness definitely helps you to maximize that hero, and it looks like 4 disconnects for LFY.
Yeah, I mean, Ohio's just sitting there going, what the hell's going on right now? And there he is, he even types it.
Yeah, I mean, you know, what can you do, right? They've had net issues since their previous series as well, so it's something you have to deal with. They are slowly reconnecting, and looks like they are all back. That's good news.
That is definitely good news, obviously. To last that damn long. They will say go.
Yeah.
Super. Has a double damage rune right now, John. This means that the Queen of Pain can't really sustain up against her. And Arfu knows it. He comes in as well, and he wants to make some kind of play. Now, there's only 1 second Boulder Smash. Without the silence, it's really hard to jump on a Queen of Pain. And again, we have a pause. This time they're from Eclipse. And John, what the hell's going on?
I wish I could tell you, Mike. I mean, you know, I am in Asia. Although it's Southeast Asia, so I can't give you any great insights into the workings of China. Rather unfortunate. I mean, you know, each time a pause comes out in Southeast Asia, it's pretty typical. I'm not too sure if it's typical for China, but based on these past 2 games, I'd say it looks to be that they also have really good internet in China.
Yeah, on the bright side, John, you know, unlike your region, they actually reconnect quickly, which is always nice.
Fair enough, Mike. Fair enough.
Yeah.
Our patience is not really tested here.
Well, Eclipse will wait for them to, you know, give the go, and they do. It's going to be very interesting to see what a team fight, you know, really pans out to be like with this many, you know, this many combos occurring. Like right now, you haven't seen it. Obviously, they're very low level. It's still only 5 minutes into the game. But you know when a team fight breaks out, it's going to be absolutely insane. Top lane, they might have some action going on. We have Ohio waiting. Yao in the trees. Going for the shackle now. Can he reach though? It doesn't look like it, although the roll in. The boulder smash will connect. But Yao already backed off, and you can't really blame him, right? Like, he was a bit too far down. Like almost near the tier 1. Like, it probably was not going to be a kill.
Yeah, it's definitely a bit too deep. None of your heroes were really tanky unless they let Ohio really cop most of the damage. But even then, the Doom doesn't really have too much armor as well to cop that tower damage.
Well, it looks like they're going to have a go here on Ohio. Arfu's there. Beautiful double boulder smash again, and there's the shackle. Can they get the kill on the Sep? It looks like they can. Arfu, who actually rolled the other way right now. They're going to make the chase onto him. Where is he? The Lucent Beam is there. Can he get out though? No one charges left. And he does get kinetic fielded, so he will end up dropping. That will be a relatively even trade, although it appears to work out better for LFY in terms of gold. About 350 gold changed their way. It's one of those things, John. I mean, I don't mean to continue talking about Arfu on the Earth Spirit, right? But he doesn't really care if he dies either. Like, he really doesn't mind. He gets the XP, he gets the gold. If he dies for any kill, he won't really care at all.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, as a hero, Earth Spirit doesn't require too much farm. He really only cares about XP, so once he gets that kill, he doesn't mind just falling. And he's already got pretty good start, level 3 already, compared to the supports over in Eclipse. You have Sep, still level 2 in that Naga Siren, although it looks like Mr. Disruptor Hyde is having a better time, level 4, so he should have a better time in this rotation. They are going down onto Mini now.
Well, Monet is actually all by himself, so he's actually going to get ganked up. Nice little rotations coming out from Eclipse, and the communication is really there right now from this team. Like, that was a very, very fast rotation from the supports and even the carry. Again, Mini proving very hard to kill on that Underlord, and he cannot get him by himself. Arfu will show up in the bot lane, but I mean, Shadow, he's not looking too weak right now. Like, he's got 17 one charges as well. The Eclipse is ready to go, apart from maybe some mana issues. We look to the mid lane, and actually Super's in a bit of trouble, but Ghost, he's going to be the one in. They boulder smash him back. Now the blink, pretty darn good. It's the only way that you wouldn't assume he'd go. And Ghost, very quick on the fingers there. It was a nice boulder smash back from Arfu. Now they're going to go on to the Avalanche. From Monet, the toss back, Arfu runs as far back as he can to, you know, really get the efficiency there. And Sep should just die, and he will. They will give the last hit to Monet. John, it was just what I was trying to say there. The Queen of Pain, it was just a fantastic blink that came out, because you wouldn't assume he would really blink to the left, but rather he would blink back towards the tier 1, but he did the exact opposite. And I think that was the right decision.
Yeah, that's some really quick thinking from Ghost, and you know, he's really maximizing this Queen of Pain. Taking down Medusa early on is fairly big. Medusa does want at least a Mask of Madness by 10 minutes, I'd say. That's a fairly good timing, 10 to 12. And it looks like it's going to be a while until Super has that up, so that farm acceleration will come for quite a fair bit later.
Yeah, I agree that's going to be fairly problematic. You know, you want that so you stack the Ancients and you can take them so darn fast, but you know, without that, it's going to be an issue. And it also means you can't really fight. You know, that Mask of Madness helps a hell of a lot. You know, especially in conjunction with Stone Gaze. You can really dish out some crazy damage. Can't really do that if you don't have the mask, so we'll see what Super can do about this. Again, he's not really one of those players that enjoys farming that much. We talked about this in the draft stage. It looks like the top lane though, John. Monet and Arfu, they're chasing Sep right now, and they will have some help from Yao. The Shackle is available, they'll just hold on. No Song yet, he's only level 3. The Boulder Smash as well, and Sep will just drop very quickly. A nice little rotation from LFY, and we sit at a 5-4 and a 1k net worth lead to Eclipse right now, so the game is still very even.
Absolutely, I mean, it's still very tight. We're still 9 minutes in. It's not been as topsy-turvy, although it's pretty active, like almost a kill per minute, so the map has been lit. It's rather interesting to see Monet take a much more active role this game, as when he was playing the PL last game, he was just much more passive, avoiding fights and, you know, going for the farm. But it looks like with Super on the Medusa, they understand that that role has to be played by Super right now. So it's good to see that coming out from LFY.
Super. Just denies a regeneration rune. Not even interested in walking up to it. Obviously, he's full mana and HP, so he doesn't need it. I believe, though, of course, the Queen of Pain would have really enjoyed that. Mr. Ghost wouldn't have been happy if he saw that, but nevertheless, he did not. Super. He's just trying to get those phase boots still. Like, he's really struggling right now. You look at the net worth graph, John. He's only got almost 3k. Like, he's below the halfway point, and this is really a disaster for a Medusa to be this far behind.
Yeah, absolutely. This is not where you want your Medusa to be at this point, below your offlane Doom. It's not a good time, and it shouldn't be happening like this. Like, look at the Luna in comparison. She's gonna have her mom delivered right now, probably. It is in the courier, so the Mask of Madness is ready for Luna. She can clear her stacks out, if there are any, and she can farm much faster, fight much better, and that's a good timing. This is the timing for most heroes if they want the mom, around 10 to 12 minutes, and in that sense, Luna's having a much better time than Medusa.
Well, like you say, she does take a T1, she's having a much better time. Fu's thinking about jumping in, but the Eclipse was available. Like, it's just too scary to go on. If you go on by yourself and you get Eclipse, you're dead. You know, there's no two ways about it, unless maybe you're Medusa. But you know, they've given way too much to Luna. You know, like, Shadow has farmed way too well, like you already mentioned. Now with the Mask of Madness, he's gonna farm even faster. He's gonna start taking tier 1 towers, and they're already looking for another rotation here. They've smoked up. They're gonna find the ancient stacks, and we all know Luna can really take those quite easily, especially with level 3 bouncing glaives going on, and I think they just might go for this rather than the actual hero kills.
Yeah, it would have been a good time to take it, because LFY did not have vision in that area, but they opt for the T1 instead, which is probably a slightly safer play, and it gives you more. I mean, you take map control away, that mid T1 is crucial for map control, so if they manage to take that out this early, it's going to take away a lot from LFY.
Well, I suppose the thing is, John, they already know where the ancient stacks are, so it's like, they know that Medusa can't take them yet, so it's like, there's no rush to take them, they just wait it out. Looks like mini bot lane will be in trouble, but again, the rotations are coming in, and I believe that is the Luna Shadow. He is there, Ohio. He's pretty much dead. The Eclipse was committed for that as well. But better be safe than sorry, Shadow says, and he takes a very easy kill for himself. And, of course, the Serpent Wards are all gone. Well, Ghost actually finds a kill on Arfu solo. Not too surprising as a Queen of Pain, but very unusual for Arfu to find himself dead like that.
He was trying to set a gank up mid, just happened to be that, you know, Shadow... Ghost was in the right place at the right time and just kind of catches Arfu out.
I mean, it just felt like nobody was there to help him anyway. Like, it was just very questionable, but nevertheless, we move on. He is back up and ready to go. Just having a look at Monet as well. He still hasn't got the Blink Dagger. You know, it's one of those crucial items. If you're going to be playing a gank style Tiny where you're going to be involved in fights, you really need that. And he doesn't, you know, he hasn't gone for drums or anything either. He's rushing this Blink, and it's just not coming out very quickly. So Monet not having the greatest time himself. His net worth is not too bad, but in comparison to maybe the last game where he was on top, you know, for his standard, it's not very good.
Yeah, definitely. Although there was a moment in the previous series, Mike, where Monet was actually struggling. His Battle Fury timing wasn't great. So he does know how to play bouncing back, because his PL was slightly behind. I mean, LFY was actually playing from behind for quite a fair bit in that last game, so it's not too unusual for him to be behind, I feel.
Well, look at bot lane, John. They actually made a jump on Ohio, but the Doom is there on Shadow. Now Monet, he wants to go for it, but he actually doesn't find him. He doesn't run to the trees and sees where the Luna is, and he still hasn't found him. He's actually completely lost. So Monet will have to let that go, and Ghost actually finds kills in the back lines. Looks like Yao ended up getting hired, but the return kill was there for, that was a position 5 for a position 5. Very unusual for them not to just check that tree line there. Like, they were pretty much there, John. Like, they were right next to him. They just didn't walk that extra step. And that really cost them a massive kill. Like, that was a top net worth hero they could have taken.
Yeah, it was rather unfortunate and really curious to see that coming out from Monet. Just, he goes to that edge, and, you know, when you're on that edge, you know there's a little wedge where you can hide. And I'm sure Monet knows about that little wedge. And it's rather surprising he opts to back out. Maybe it's because he was scared of the response coming in, and the Queen of Pain was there. The backline supports were hanging around near the jungle as well. And, you know, they already sacrificed the Shaman wards. The tower is already denied, so maybe they were just trying to play a bit safe.
Well, they're going to go after these ancient stacks, John. Bot lane, they're going to find Super, and they're going to take these off him. They're going to try and go for the kill first, but the Stone Gaze was committed. Now Apu comes in. He's got the Magnetize off, but the song is there. And they will immediately TP out. In fact, Sepp is sticking around here. I'm not too sure about him. Like, I'm not sure why he would have stuck around. It feels like he probably could have just walked off and maybe at least dragged it out a bit. But I guess understanding he's pretty much guaranteed to die, he just says, screw it, I'll just stand here and keep vision, maybe?
I feel like it's fair enough. I mean, he knows he was going to die. He could walk a few steps and maybe try to make it chase, but I feel like that wastes his time more than LFY, because, you know, you're going to die anyway. You might as well get your respawn going earlier, I feel.
No, I suppose so. I mean, look, at the end of the day, what they really wanted was they wanted to kill Super and take those ancient stacks. Like, you know they wanted that so bad. They failed to do so, and Super does end up getting them. And as well as that, they lose a Naga, and now Medusa's going to rotate to the other ancient stack. With that Mask of Madness, she'll be able to take that triple stack fairly okay. Of course, there are those annoying Prowlers that do heal up everything else. But there will be a rotation again. Eclipse know about this, and they're not going to allow this to happen. And Shadow gets started himself with the Glaives. Now, maybe it's a blessing that it's the Prowlers, in the sense that, you know, neither team will be able to take it without risking their lives. But it looks like Eclipse are very confident, and they'll go in and do it. And there's going to be no contention at all. Shadow's going to get all this farm.
Yeah, it's rather unfortunate for LFY. I mean, they don't have... they just got Stone Gaze off as well, so... rather unfortunate they give away that stack, but I guess at this point they're really just trying to conserve their losses, you know, cut their losses low and just find what they can elsewhere, which is fair enough. I mean, we've seen LFY do the same thing last game, where they just kind of try to cut back and keep everyone else busy and buy space for one core, which looks to be Monet at this point, buying a lot of time for Monet to really just catch up.
You know, he has got the blink now, John, so Monet can make things happen. It's just, my concern is, like, the last game when he was catching up, and he did a great job of it, you know, he was on a Phantom Lancer, not a Tiny. Like, I think Tiny can, you know, scale well enough, but not the same as what a Phantom Lancer can. Looks like Monet will end up trying to find somebody with this smoke. He will eventually run into Shadow. Apu, can he make a play though? No, he will not. They will run back immediately, understanding that kill's not going to be easy, and there's probably going to be heroes around that tier 1, and in fact the chase was on them afterwards. So, a failed smoke attempt, and now the Roshan's being taken by Shadow.
This should be a fairly easy rush to take. One thing that people don't really take note of is Firestorm. It does burn a % HP, so it actually burns through Roshan quite well.
Yeah, that's a good point. Doing that, you can see how quickly the Roshan melts once he uses it. And, well, They're going to need to try and defend this LFY. Like, it's probably too big of a thing to give away. Afu, he's smoked up, and the rest of them are as well. They're going to go for this team fight right now. They're rolling, but the song is there just in time, and that's a bit awkward for Afu. He's literally stuck there. Now the Pit of Malice as well. They're going to grab Ohio on the Doom. The Boulder Smash is there and does connect on one Avalanche as well, but it's not really enough, I don't think. They do get the Sonic Wave. Now, Yao, he might be the next target. No, Monet jumps in. The toss is their Shadow. They want him so bad right now, but he has the Aegis anyway, and Mini is trying to get them out. There's the Aegis. They might actually leave him behind. No, they cancel off. Now the Pit of Malice goes. He actually does end up getting Yao. Now the Eclipse comes in, and they're all going to melt on the side of LFY. Shadow gets a triple, and John, you know, I was wondering, why focus the Luna when you know she has the Aegis?
Yeah, it was a rather curious decision. I mean, sure, you managed to pop the Aegis, but at the cost of the rest, rest of the players on your team, it's not really a worthwhile trade-off, because now she has space to still clear a couple of objectives, probably at least a tier 2, maybe 2 tier 2s. So it's rather odd target prioritization coming out from LFY. You definitely have a point there, but that was a really good response from Eclipse. Like, they had the ward, they saw the smoke, they just put the Naga outside so she doesn't get hit by the boulder, and the moment Afu rolls in, just launch that song. And LFY was in a very bad spot for that, because Eclipse knew the smoke was there, and they knew that once Afu was inside, all they needed to do was pop the song, walk up, and drop their ultimates, and that was it.
Oh, it looks like they're going to try and go into Afu again. Does end up backing off, but this tier 2 is going to be the target. And John, I will agree with you. That song was fantastic. Like, it was so perfectly timed. They see Afu roll in, and they just click the R button. Afu's left in a really awkward position. Can't do anything. They secure the Roche like you mentioned, and well, that's all she wrote really. The tier 2 will drop off that as well, and that's, 21 minutes in. They're doing a pretty damn good job on Eclipse right now. A 10k net worth lead is very substantial for this kind of time. Not to mention, you look at the map control they have right now. John, they've only lost one tier 1 tower so far.
Yeah, so Eclipse has much more map control, and this is almost the same situation LFY found themselves early on. They lost all their outer towers ahead, at least their T1s, and they were lagging behind in their own push. And they did manage to turn, but it took a while. Now, the situations are different. I mean, you have Monet, who's supposed to be a bit more active, and then you have Super, who's supposed to be a bit more passive, which is really the exact opposite of the last game, and we'll see if that works out. They are going to go for the last outer tower now for Eclipse. They're going to start knocking that last T2.
Yeah, there's just so much confidence coming out of this team. And you can't blame them, right? Like, not only are they that far ahead, but, you don't want to let the Medusa farm. You don't want to take this too late. And they're going for the tier 3 here. They're not actually going to try and back off now. It's worth the risk probably, right? Because you've got the Underlord, you've always got the Dark Rift, you've got the Song available, so you go chip away the tower, you use the Song, you use the Dark Rift, and back the hell out immediately. Like, there's no real problems here. You look at mid lane as well, and there's no Tiny, because Monet is getting taken down right now by the Queen of Pain. So they could actually do this safely. They even commit the Static Storm mid lane, and Monet's gone. He almost took out Ghost, but it wasn't enough. He has no buyback available either. And they're falling apart right now on LFY's end.
Yeah, it's definitely not looking good for LFY, and I feel like the itemization of Monet this game is rather curious. He has the Daedalus queued up, Mike, and I'm not sure if damage is the issue for Tiny right now, because he deals a lot. I think the issue is really survivability.
Well, John, we said it in the draft screen, like, it's almost like they mixed Super and Monet up with the hero picks. It's like, you've got one guy that wants to farm, and you've got one guy that wants to initiate. Like, just mix the heroes, like, switch them around, and you probably have maybe a bit of a better game going on. As it stands right now, though, like, they're going the exact opposite of what they need to do, unless they're confident they can delay this for another 15 to 20. But then again, you see Ohio, he gets caught out now with the Firestorm and Pit of Malice as well as the Kinetic Field. It's all too much to deal with. Like, there's no way out. He ends up going down, no buyback available, and they can continue pushing if they do like, but it looks like they don't even want to quite yet. In fact, no, they will stick around and just wait for the creeps.
Yeah, it should be a fairly easy push. Again, back to the topic I was talking about earlier, Mike. Itemization is rather curious from LFY. I mean, look at Ohio's items. He has the Crimson Guard, sure, but he went for the Midas.
Oh, John, there's a smoke. They've caught the Medusa. The Static Storm is there, but no, the Force Staff. Where the hell did that come from? He got out. The Eclipse was used. Now they can turn this around. Shadow, he could be in trouble. There's the Underlord. They get the Luna. They've hexed him up. Is he going to get out? Yes, he is. The Shackle is pretty damn long in that stage, Sean. But it's not enough. And, I mean, it looked like the perfect turnaround. But this combination of the Naga Underlord is just too much to deal with.
It really is. And the hard thing about playing against Underlord, you can't stop the Dark Rift. Nothing stops Dark Rift. I'm not sure if OD Astral does, but I'm pretty sure nothing does. Like, you could probably keep one hero from going home, but you can't stop the Underlord himself and everyone in his aura, everyone around him, going home with him. So it's really, really rough. I mean, in that case, what do you do? Do you prioritize the Underlord to die first? But then you're prioritizing an Underlord who is mainly just an escape tool, right? Well, it's a very hard situation for LFY.
Well, I mean, John, you are the analyst, so I was going to ask you what they can do, but apparently we're both sort of lost on this point. I mean, you'd have to argue though that at the end of the day, what they really need is they need to give Super time, and apparently Monet time as well, because he's going carry style build, like he's going right click. How much?
Yeah, time? And I think it's important to point out that Ohio needs time as well, because he went for that Midas, so he went really greedy with the Doom, I have to say, because normally if you go Midas and Doom, it's really just to maximize farm along with Devour, but overall I feel like it's a really lackluster item on Doom. You really want to be active with the Doom.
Well, it looks like they found Yao again on the Shadow Shaman. They could use the Pit of Malice, and it's just that easy, John. Look at Shadow, he's got an Eye of Skadi now. Like, it's just too much to deal with. Like, they're defending, I'll give them that. LFY, if they can hold out for another 15, they could pull this back. They can even defend against Megas, that's the thing, right? It doesn't matter if you get Mega Creeps, like there's a Medusa. He can keep going. It looks like Ohio, you get poison buff. They really want Super though, that's the big target to go for, and Ghost will get started. Tier 3 is dropping fairly fast. Will they take out Ohio? Nice little boulder smash coming in, but they only can connect on one. Now they silence him up in the kinetic field and the Eclipse as well. They just wanted him gone, and they get it, and it feels like that's all they wanted. The Tier 3 is still there. They ping it out. And I suppose without those two heroes there yet, they can just keep doing this. Tier 3's gone. Now the racks will get started on Shadow. Those glaives are so annoying when it comes to raxing for the opposing team. They will jump though. Who have they got? That is the Underlord, but the song again, and now the ulti comes in. It's like, what the hell are you going to do about this? Nothing. If Arthu is not out of the song's reach, there's nothing you can do about it. You are getting, like, they are getting out safely.
Yeah, it's really hard to play, and again, it comes back to what you were going to ask me earlier. Who do you prioritize in these team fights? Do you go for the Underlord first to stop the escape? But Underlord's really tanky. He has that Crimson Guard, he has that Pipe of Insight. Do you go for the Naga to stop the sleep? But then you're going for the Position 4 Naga. It's very hard to prioritize which heroes to go for. Like, sure, if you take out the Naga, they still have the escaping the Underlord. If you take out the Underlord, they still have the reset from Naga.
It's too much. It's really, I mean, this is going to be the new thing, right? You're going to see the Naga Underlord coming out now, I think. Like, it's not even a Disruptor anymore. It just feels like just get the Underlord and you can continue to do this. Again, John, they show up in the mid lane. They've got Ohio, and every single time they get into a fight, they do this. They take him out, Arthu. Beautiful boulder smash. Now the song onto all 5 as well. In fact, it was only 4, but Monet is there. A lot of damage is being dished out. Ohio, who's he going for? He hasn't thrown the Doom out yet. He wants to go for Ghost, it looks like, but Ghost is continuing to follow him and does end up getting him. Meanwhile, the rest of the team is still okay. They will start healing up with the Urn now. Super, he's in a bit of trouble. They glimpse him back, but the Stone Gaze comes out. It looks like Underlord is trapped right now. If they can get him, this might be what they needed, but now Yao's in trouble. Shadow's going to man-fight this, but Monet, beautiful avalanche toss, he's gone. Ghost is actually out of this. He actually buys back though while all this is going on. Shadow, he'll start chasing Monet. Should go down, and he does. So 3 down for the side of LFY. the buybacks begin. Obviously, you do not want to use it on the Medusa. You need that gold, but you've got to be able to defend this. And I mean, if Medusa dies right now, John, I think the game's over. Like, I can't see Eclipse stopping. The wards have been dropped. Yao is dying just from glaives right now, and they will just go and kill him. So I believe that was a dieback from him just then. Super still copping damage in the back lines. And right now, Eclipse, I don't believe they're gonna, like, they should definitely not stop. There's no, like, there's absolutely no reason to stop at this point. And they call GG. LFY's had enough. They realize they're way too behind. There's a celebratory stong, the sonic wave, the kinetic fields, the pit. I mean, they're just playing around now. But they've got to be happy though. After such a dominant performance from LFY in the first series that we saw, to destroy them like this in a very convincing fashion, John, 29 minutes in, you've got to be happy with yourselves.
Really good in that first game, and they just look like a different team in this game, Mike.
They looked fantastic. They did. I mean, no, not LFY. Eclipse looked fantastic. LFY, yes, they look like a different team, but not in the good way. And John, we talked about it. Now, we're not professionals, we're not coaches either, so we don't know what was going through the minds of these guys. But again, what was with the swap with Super and Monet? Why would you put the roles seemed a bit like it didn't fit.
Oh dear, you had plenty of water.
This is a very aggressive lane. They're just going to keep shoving it into his tower. Something that I think that EHOME just didn't want their Weaver to have to deal with the bottom.
Yeah. Do you think that's a good move overall in the grand scheme of things? Is he going to be able to catch up? The Sand King top, I mean?
Sand King's a hero that will get what he gets at some point. You can't keep pressuring him because like you pretty much like have to constantly spam sentries or he just sandstorms the wave. So he will be able to catch up, but
bottom lane though. Troll Warlord in a bit of trouble. The kinetic field will not be there, but it's not really going to matter. The auto attacks are enough. And
that's a pretty important kill, I think, to let the troll just like solo bottom like this. He's very susceptible to ganks as a carry, so very important to punish that.
Looking at the CS, 18-3 for Chalice on this Beastmaster. It feels like we're watching game 1 again, where he just got off to that amazing start. We're going to see the Burrow Strike here by Faith Beyond. Being used defensively, though. And the second axe is coming out, so we're seeing what you were just talking about in pregame already being applied here in the top lane. Pretty scary.
Beastmaster's hard. I've laid against Beastmaster, man. Like, you can't even man up against this hero with like a Terror Blade, like a high armor hero. Oh, Beastmaster's all physical damage. I don't know, man. It's hard to really quantify. I mean, you can, I guess, but it's hard to imagine how much damage you're going to take just because he axes you. But it affects his right clicks too, damage jams.
Well, either way, Faith Beyond, I think at the end of the day, he's going to be okay with this. He's going to be hitting, he's level 4 right now. So at the very least is getting his levels, which is a huge part of King. Yeah, that's the beauty of the hero. He'll find his farm and levels one way or another. And I mean, we've been seeing a little bit of like position 4 Sand King, which is just so brutal to watch because this level 1 Burrow Strike, because Illuminate will hit in the top lane. Chalice gets slowed by the Caustic Finale. Not going to be able to finish off Faith Beyond, but still pressure being applied over and over and over with this infinite mana pool.
You only have so many salves, so eventually they're going to push him. He has no way of regenning. He doesn't have like Tranquil Boot yet or anything. This is a circumstance that I've talked about with fellow players, my team as well as in pubs. Like, sometimes it's just better to not kill this guy. Like walking all the way back to base, and Beastmaster's just gonna. I mean, he's making the walk of shame.
He sure is. Tusk, you see that new, pretty cool effect on his head for his allies to see, but CTY's in a lot of trouble. The Illuminate is there. That's an easy kill, but X, no, it's gonna pay with his own life, but that's okay. A 1-for-1
effect on his head are you talking about?
So when Tusk snowballs to somebody, the allies can and us apparently can see who he's snowballing to. Little indicator above his head.
I did not see that. I'll pay attention.
That's pretty nice. It's a Reddit suggestion that was brought to life by Valve.
I mean, that's actually a really good quality of life change, especially for pubs where like there's no way in hell the guy's communicating to you where he's snowballing.
Yeah, exactly. You know, something we haven't really talked about yet is Weaver's talent. I believe it's a level 10, right? The mana break. I don't understand how that's in the game at level 10. Especially when Mirana has one at level 20, by comparison.
There's some weird
double attack
balance, man. I agree. It's just so random. It adds like a unique dynamic to the hero, but at the same time, I don't know. You're right. It's so hard to judge these things because the mana talent's nice because it gives you that extra bit of damage. It's just like anti-mage mana where it like does like a 6. Weird talent because you want to go Diffusal and synergizes, but then burn all the mana.
I was watching this gank and they end up taking out the Sand King before anything actually happens. Nice kinetic field. Chalice taking some more damage from that Thunder Strike, but again, this lane is completely dominating right now.
Mid lane, another going on of the, but he salved and then Astral. That was like came out a lot healthier. It was one of those things. I actually had my camera on the supports coming from behind.
Yeah, exactly.
Sand King was just dead by the time they got.
Yeah, a little bit of miscommunication, perhaps, but Faith Beyond still he'll probably, I would assume, rotate out of this lane. And the question is, who takes over for him? Or does he continue to go to this lane over and over? Is there anybody that can actually survive?
That's the thing. This is like, they have no other options. Weaver maybe with a lot of levels can, but Weaver's a hero that wants to be aggressive, not just kind of like sitting under his tower surviving. So I think the Sand King's kind of just stuck here. Master auto lane.
I'm trying to use that Caustic Finale to the best of his ability. The Illuminate will not hit, but the axes again do. There's the Burrow Strike, the opposite side, FY. Looks like axes are online again. It won't be... Really? Is that enough to kill him?
I thought if he got the medallion, I thought he might get it. The axe is also refreshed, so they're like lost the stacks. I thought if he got the medallion plus stacks, he would actually just kill him.
In this bot lane, 40-4 as far as CS is concerned versus 35-5. So Old Chicken doing quite well in what is supposed to be his off lane. Oh, we're gonna have a dive here. There's the first roar of the game. There's the axes into the Illuminate. You're seeing that amplified damage come into play. Now the Disruptor looks to be next. Chalice, he gets disrupted. Actually kind of helps him. Or Glimpse, I should say. But Old Chicken has TP'd in. He's gonna take more axes. But finally, they will take down this pesky Beastmaster.
Beastmaster does so much damage. Like one axes and one right click is like half of each piece of health, man. Like insane. Phase boots on every offlaner. Welcome to 7. And it was like that in 7.07 too, but gotcha. All these offlaners now, like these phase boots just allow them to be so aggressive at the laning stage. Like, you see it on Tide Hunters, you see it on all kinds of just random offlaners. Allows them to walk at you, and it's really hard to play against as a safe laner. You're an offlaner in this. I'm
glad to see variation in boot choices, to be honest. I felt like it was getting a little too static at times.
I agree.
Like years and years, like especially with Tranquil boots especially. It's always the same heroes buying it. There's no variation at all. Bottom lane, Faith Beyond has now rotated a bit. Looks like he's going to be a little bit happier in this lane. Against a regular melee by himself, Caustic Finale, pretty freaking good. What level is it now? Oh, it's only level 2. Still not
They're
anything to
smoking
scoff
the mid
at.
on the side of LG. Oh, the counter smoke from me. I see a big.
Oh boy. Oh, Nova, X-Nova's gonna run right into him. He gets the ice shards off. There's the roar and the axes. Is it enough to actually take him out? Nice burst strike onto 2 Faith Beyond. Gets his ult out to the Tusk Snowball. Pretty much mitigating all of that damage, but CTY is here. X-Nova looks to be dead with that last right click. And there's the Astral Imprisonment to ensure that they will find 2 kills for their Disruptor. Not too shabby for EHOME.
Yes, very good counterplay coming from them. Clearly, I don't know if that was a smoke where they expected to run into them that way, but either way, they were clearly expecting LG. I feel like this is a spot where I don't like Beastmaster rotating so much, because I've been constantly pressuring this top lane, and if you're constantly pressuring and then suddenly you're not, it kind of makes it obvious you're doing.
Meant to have this.
Faith Beyond being chased by FY. Doesn't have a whole lot of mana right now. We'll get this bounty run. It looks like the Weaver's choice for first item, which I feel like is not the norm anymore, as X-Nova looks to be found out here. Old Chicken getting some right clicks off, has some decent vision, but looks like X-Nova will live. Going for Lincoln's first. Obviously the Beastmaster were pretty much the main culprit. Picking that up.
I think he has to be able to split push this game. Right, if he has.
Yeah, it's definitely true. Ooh, missed time Echo Stomp there, but
I like this play. I like this build from him personally. I think that if going Diffusal would be a big mistake. Like, they have no physical damage, so I think he has to go Deso, and he can't go Deso without that.
Oh god, that's why he needs one. That is why he needs one. Holy jeez, Chalice. See if he can end up paying for the sins of his father, the Son and the Holy Ghost. But no, Beastmaster. He's actually going to get the Disruptor on his way to the grave. Good lord, this hero seems so strong.
And like raindrops and everything, and he still got bursted. Those axes do so much.
Yeah, the raindrops do jack shit against Beastmaster. Luckily for him, I guess.
I was saying like it did, stop the Illuminator or whatever. So I thought maybe be enough. But he still got bursted. Another troll going for the Morbid into the Battle Fury here.
Cool. But yeah, going back to the Lincoln Sphere, they don't really have much to take it off other than Roar. They have the Mana Leak and I guess Shadow Strike, but Shadow Strike you can pretty much dodge with Shikuchi most of the time.
Mana Leak is very annoying for Weaver, so it's not even bad if he blocks Mana Leak.
Yeah.
He's gonna bring down Faith Beyond. He has no Sandstorm.
Yeah, that's true, huh? I think we saw
I feel
it
like
time
it's just
lapse.
so much value to have one get out of jail free card.
Yeah. Did they have any vision? I think so.
They do have a sentry on the coddle, but even then you're making him use the sentry for 1 point. Heads up.
Yeah.
I'm not a Sand King player, so act like I know better.
Not to act like I know better, but
But I do.
yes, of course.
My story of my life.
Chalice will be going for a Shadow Blade this game. What do you think of that pickup if he ends up actually going for it?
Applies so much map pressure, but
Like, why that over Blink Dagger this game?
I actually think with the way Beastmaster works now, you actually represent so much more solo kill potential. Shadow Blade, because you actually do so much right-click damage with the Medallion plus Wild Axe Amp. But I think that's the idea behind it.
Okay. Oh, we're gonna see the war. Looks like Faith Beyond just
God.
respawned and then died right off the bat. Yeah, that's an interesting. I didn't really think about that though. A lot of solo kill potential.
Yeah, because you
doesn't
used
really
to,
have
like,
the
you
IO
had to
from
like
game
blink
one,
right
right?
on top of them in order to hit them, but because of that bonus move speed too, you don't necessarily, you know, the Shadow Blade's enough.
In the first game, he went blink though, right? And I think that's because he had the IO. I'm guessing.
Yeah, he was like the main setup for ganks in that game, and he was like being more utility. I think he went Vlad's first and then blink.
Oh yeah,
so
maybe. Yeah.
This game, I think he knows his troll's going to be farming a lot. So he wants to be a very solo kill-esque type hero.
Right.
He's got the Quab. I mean, they're really cranking up the aggression. Quab is going for the Orchid. Look at this Quab build. What do you think of that?
Straight Orchid. Huh. What's the?
It's
What
two
do you make with
Nulls and
a
a
bracer?
Bracer. I
What?
feel like a Wand is strictly better, in my opinion, than a Bracer. But,
Huh. Did he change his mind about an item build or something? I mean, you don't see drums ever on this hero.
I have seen one Quab go drums, but other than that, yeah, I agree.
Up Chalice. Looks like he's gonna be found out here. The Burrow Strike. Nice tough snowball. Mitigating a little bit of damage. The Sonic Wave comes in. CTY will die first in this engagement. There's a nice burst damage from Maybe. Able to clean some heroes up. It's a 2-for-1 now. This is a really far dive here for LGD. So FY looks to be found out. As Old Chicken has come to play. Shikuchi is up. X-Nova looks to be next on the list. Does get the snowball off, but not able to actually finish anyone off with it. So it's a 3-for-2 at the end of this fight. Let's see who won in terms of actual gold influx. But the whole time, Troll just pounding on this tier 1.
That's exactly what I was gonna say. Is I think that like EHOME obviously took the fight, but like they got more kills and killed the core. But you know, OD heavily stunted by that, while Troll is just farming and Battle Fury.
Oh, they're
They
scanning
look like they
him.
might get him here. Up their
Sure
cat,
do.
and then he gets out.
It's gonna be a tough one. He's pretty freaking fast though. Echo Stomp. It's not. Actually does hit and the Glimpse at the same time. And they're gonna try to give this kill to CTY, and the Astral Imprisonment should ensure that that takes place.
I thought he might get away because the Disruptor didn't Q him, but that's the ET Spirit close to. Looks like D is ready to wrap on him here.
Yep, Tusk Snowball. Looks like Disruptor will be the first to die here. And Primal Roar was used, but to little avail. But
Yeah, I think
technically
we saw the
speaking,
counter initiation coming from the same.
right. Looks like they want to pressure this tier 2 at the very least. Maybe with Sonic Wave another 30 seconds. Man, you're right, dude. This combo, even with just the Illuminate doing extra damage with the Amplify, pretty dirty. Because both spells are super long range. You don't even see it in the nighttime.
Yeah, I mean it's just scary, man. You lose like half your health to stuff you can't see. Like that's just really hard to play against, especially on heroes that lack sustain. Like certain heroes can kind of bounce back from getting nuked down, like Jugs and stuff. OD does not. Booked up again on EHOME. Up.
Sure did. Let's see if they can set something up. Faith Beyond still not with a Blink Dagger.
This is a huge. Have the.
Yeah. I think he already bought his Orchid, so for him, it's not the worst timing. Oh, he's gonna blink out, but there's the glimpse again. And yeah,
Hold on to
it
the
is a big
difficulty
kill.
there. I think that was pretty disciplined.
Radiant's top tower is under attack.
Chalice has that Shadow Blade. Don't believe he's shown this yet. Could be wrong, but
He showed the Claymore, so they know he... They have detection though. They do have sentries on.
could be a big roar setup, but doesn't have enough teammates to actually ensure a kill at this point. Like, as a pro player, I mean, I've had some experience around pro players with my team back in the day. I don't remember them really... I guess it's probably player to player, team to team, where they keep track of items that detailed, you know? Like, he has a Claymore, it's like, oh, he's gonna have Shadow Blade in 2 minutes, just remember, kind of thing. Is that...
People have gotten really
experience?
good at that.
Yeah?
Yeah, like, every time I reveal an item even slightly, like, a lot of times if you're a tiny and you have Treads Aquila and then, you know, a minute and a half later I still have only Treads Aquila, they'll, like, know I'm going Blink or Shadow Blade and they're, like, ready for it. People are really good at that.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
Honestly, like, they know what they're expecting from you, I guess. They're paying attention to it.
The Echo Stomp ends up hitting X Nova. They're not going to follow it up with anything. I don't think EHOME wants to fight. Old Chicken, pretty much no mana right now. Chalice was very close to getting a roar, and I think that would have been a kill.
Realize that Old Chicken is Perry, isn't he?
I mean, I think he switched it up a lot. No, I think he was off lane. Well, there's also Young 11. Maybe we're getting them mixed up too. And I think Young 11's name is not just 11. So, but I thought this guy was also. I don't know. I have a hard time remembering. But either way,
I feel like he was an offlaner, but maybe I'm high. I don't know.
both offlaners.
I'm not sure.
And the reason he picked Troll, much like an Ursa, except much more versatile in my opinion, to take out Roshan.
Yeah, apparently
Troll
Ursa's
is just
such
a better
Roshan with
Ursa.
that status resistance.
Does it actually take
I think
it
they
off?
need to buff his... It makes it so it's 4.5 seconds instead of 6, which, like...
Oh.
If you get bashed and then get nuked and walk away for, like, half a second, you just lose the Fury Swipe, so... Like, really awkward. I haven't gotten to play it myself, but I saw it in a match for... I think it was in the championship yesterday.
Huh. Oh, looks like we have an engagement mid lane. The kinetic field Echo Stomp hits onto Chalice, and here comes the big ET ult. It's just barely in range. Brings them right back to the center of reality, and that's a nice kill for EHOME.
FY is so rich, man. He's going to have Ags. Obviously, it's going to be nighttime in 40 seconds, but generally teams try to hit this timing around 24 because it's pretty unrealistic to hit the Ags around 16. He already has it now, but looks like they might try to make use of this last 30 seconds of day. Aegis will be gone by the time they hit that timing, but I mean, they'll still be so powerful. It's so much heal, so much sustain on the Coddleags.
I don't think they've revealed the Orchid yet, so maybe. And here we go. He's gonna... Oh, the blink out. What fast reactions from Faith Beyond. Nicely done. Meanwhile,
that's when you
lane,
know he's ready for it. He was ready for that.
Indeed, and this is an easy takedown of the Aegis, and he's completely surrounded.
Twice, I think.
We have a lot of
they are running though.
Coming. See if he can get out in time. The glimpse back into the Static Storm. They're gonna have way too much damage. Sans Eclipse as well, and they're gonna get out before anybody can catch up. So TP's wasted.
That was really good by EHOME because the second the Sand King got gone on bottom, they just like no Troll Warlords alone, right? So they just instantly jump him top. They didn't know where the Quap was, but then Quap showed bottom, and they just know this guy's alone with Aegis. They killed twice.
Here we go, Orchid again. Prevents
Looking
the Burrow
for the
Strike from
glimpse.
coming out. Oh, they find him. Maybe back into play, into the Burrow Strike, into the easy kill. CTY is dealing a lot of damage. Has the Hurricane Pike right now. And
You learn very quickly how much armor comes into play in the game of Dota. Like, when the ET is standing next to you, you actually just die instantly. It's pretty nuts. Obviously, Quap only has 7 armor, but that's still... Let's see, what is that? That is 27% damage. I mean, that's pretty insane when you remove all of that and just give it pure damage to any hero in the game. Like, that Quap just died.
It's funny, but it doesn't really synergize with the right clicks of OD at all, right?
That's true, but I think, like, I mean, I'd have to...
Sans Eclipse, definitely.
Yeah, in general, ET is just a hero that, like... Yeah, I mean, even though you don't get the Arcane Orb bonuses, all the other heroes are hitting them, and suddenly just everyone's doing pure damage. The Weaver, who doesn't traditionally do that much damage with the items he has, is suddenly dealing a lot. He's actually going for Maelstrom.
Yeah, interesting. be able to push the lanes a little bit faster, I suppose. As there's the Astral Imprisonment on himself, already a half mana. Faith Beyond is here. He gets silenced for the Bow Strike, and there comes a Primal Split, or the Primal Roar, I should say. Able to take him out. I want to go for CTY now. The right clicks from Troll is ridiculous. He gets Astral again. It's a 1-for-1. Thanking. Sonic Wave not to be able to hit the ODs. He gets out of dodge with HYM. Looks like the snowball is on its way. Or it was. Here comes... Okay, the Walrus Punch is enough to take out ETs. So 2-for-1. Old Chicken. Actually going to get silenced. Gets blocked by the shards. He did enough to actually take him out before the time-lapse comes out. Negatory. Off he goes. Tusk does get the snowball off. Yeah, he's still surrounded right now. But Shikuchi actually gets astraled by his teammate as well. Oh, we're going to have a glimpse. We actually want to continue this. X-Nova. A couple more. Oh, nice blinding light. But there's a Hurricane Pike. He just needs vision for this to actually connect, and it looks like that'll be enough. As somehow this is still going.
He got all the attacks off while the Disruptor Q was still on, so even though he lost vision by the time they hit, that was pretty cute there. That combination is actually pretty insane. I didn't think about that. Like, the fact that OD is one of the few heroes in the game that really utilizes that infinite range on the Hurricane Pike. That synergy is actually pretty significant.
How long is Blinding Light?
I think 5 seconds.
Yeah, 5 seconds.
Yeah,
at this
5.
level.
Wow, good.
So good.
If it was only level 1, I would have looked bad. But.
Yeah, it's okay. Alright, well, CTY and company. CTY at the top of net worth right now. Well, basically tied, virtually tied with the Troll Warlord, who is going for a BKB at the moment.
I just want to note that Coddle is almost 3rd in net worth here, higher than the Quap. That hero is pretty insane. That net worth not really showing right now, but in 30 seconds, we will feel the full force of the impact of that Axe.
Indeed.
It's day.
Maybe at the top lane, does not have Sonic Wave, so I don't think he's going to be able to finish off Faith Beyond. But shows him that he's here, shows him who's boss. Burrow Strike is using that to try to get away, but he's not really in peril at the moment. Blink Dagger choice for OD. Oh, as we have a Roar into the Axes again. Snowball as well. Easy lockdown, easy kill on Disruptor. Chalice now getting chased by Old Chicken. Here comes the Epicenter. Burrow Strike onto 2 heroes. Chalice is dead. FY looks to be next.
That's a gem.
Great turnaround for EHOME. Static Storm Glimpse combination. Another kill, this time on Quap. And they're looking for X-Nova as well. This could be 4 easy kills for EHOME. And it just cost them 1 buyback on Disruptor. You said they lost the gem?
Yeah, the Coddle had a gem on him, and now it's on the...
Weaver.
Disruptor? Oh, Weaver. They end up handing it off. Not gonna lie, like, I think they might just be exhausted from, like, just getting out of the land, because in the first game, LGD we saw the, you know, the huge, like, they made the big comeback, but they made a lot of mistakes, it felt like, in that game. A little bit of sloppy play on their split pushing, and in this game, like, it was literally 20 seconds from day, Trolls bottom, and they just force a fight in the top half of the map. And, like, maybe they didn't want to fight right then, but they had, like, 4 heroes, you know, postured aggressively, so, you know, they kind of, I feel like, have to expect that to happen. And they lost the gem right before daytime. Trolls, like, really not been a part of these fights. Like, when he's not there, they've taken them. I don't know, I feel like their draft is still favored in this game, but they're just being a little sloppy.
So I went and checked the pings just to make sure, because you're right, they literally were in the finals yesterday. How are they in China already? It seems like, I mean, not saying it's impossible to be in China right after, but to be playing this soon after is actually a little bit surprising.
Yeah, they just look, I know that sounds weird to say, but they just look tired. Like, the way they're playing, they're just making, like, they have their random mental hiccups, it feels like they have in the game. So, overall, obviously a very good team, and by no means am I saying, you know, they're a sloppy team, but it just feels like they've made uncharacteristic errors, is basically what I'm saying. Like, the weird errors I wouldn't expect from them. Beastmaster is going for a Necrobook. That's interesting.
You don't get to see that every day anymore. That was that touched in this last patch? I don't think so. It was 7.07. Something changed. They got rid of the mana burn and put it in.
Yeah, they gave the purge on the Necrobook 3.
But I think they increased the stats in general of that.
Oh, they made it so that instead of int, it gives mana regen. That's what they did. It used to give a lot of int, but now it gives a lot of mana regen.
Alright, Disruptor is probably dead. Gets the glimpse off. Challenge. Alright. Maybe comes
That's a pretty important kill. He's like their main source of catch.
And they know that's a dieback, so that's 60 seconds with no disruptor.
They could just go, I think they should go high ground with the
Yeah, they could try.
Their creep wave's coming. They have plenty of sustain. They might just chill out, but I feel like they could force the issue here, but it looks like they want to just wait for Roche, establish control of that area, which I think is fine.
Oh, maybe blinks in. Gonna find 2. Pops the BKB prematurely. BTY just simply TP's out. That's the 10 seconds.
Afraid of just the stanking plus D, I guess?
Yeah, I think so.
Feels a little over panicky with the
I think with one burrow strike, I think he dies, doesn't he?
You think so, huh?
It's close.
I guess it could be close. I guess it's close enough that it's not worth taking the risk.
Because you get a couple right clicks of Arcane Orb, you Astral, and then you Sanity's Eclipse on top. Then you get one right click before he blinks away.
Okay. I can see that. Better safe than sorry for sure. That's definitely close enough that...
Well, the one thing that was changed with BKB, remember, is the cooldown is static throughout all levels now, so...
That's a pretty huge change, in my opinion.
Yes.
That item is... There's like... half the cores in the game, if not more, rely on BKB in the late game, so that just effectively removes their ability to fight that much longer. Smoke up, though. They find
found out. That's the Burrow Strike. Well, he gets the force step to the other side, but with that glimpse, bringing them back, and like you said, that Astral. Oh, gonna have to hold that thought as Elder Titan's getting bashed down, but Troll War's not gonna be able to finish him off because the Astral Imprisonment is there. Bottle buys back in the game. HYM is safe for now. The fight by the Ancients continue. The cancel with a punch in the air, X-Nova, able to take out that very annoying Elder Titan. And I think with that, EHOME just wants to get out.
Mana leaked on
Yes, he is. He might have to time launch back. He'll be close. Gets 4 staffed. Pops his wand. We'll dodge that. Yeah, he's gonna have to pop this. There's a BKB pop by maybe again. Epicenter onto 3 heroes, but not a whole lot of follow-up yet. As 2 dead still for EHOME, so not sure if they really want to fight. Sanity's Eclipse is still there though, and they're all grouped up. Doesn't only have that much info. The Burrow Strike onto a couple of heroes. The right clicks commence. There's a Sanity's Eclipse, not able to actually get a kill. Sonic Wave onto 2. This is a huge mistake from EHOME sticking around as Faith Beyond looks to be taken out as well. That is a full team wipe with 1 buyback on the side of Caudle. So FY and company look to be taking more than just that 5-man wipe.
I think their base is on unless they mass buyback all the board.
That's 1 buyback. That's not going to be enough. They know the Epicenter's down. All they worry about is this Burrow Strike.
They need at least 1 more, and then they'll just go straight Roche, I think. They're holding the
tower is
buyback.
dead. Yeah, I think at this point, either you save... I don't think they're going to go for 2. They probably do just go for Roche, like you said. Oh, maybe not.
I think they only go for Roche if they buy back the cores. I think they force this for sure. Like the...
Yeah, 30 seconds. The Hawk is dead. HYM still has that ult. Earth Splitter available to use. He's going to try to get the Echo Stomp off. He does on a couple heroes, but Troll's just going to continue to pound into the Disruptor. An easy kill for him. But the Burrow Strike inside that Static Storm. In a bit of trouble. The Snowball, though. Onto HYM, putting themselves in even more precarious spot, in fact. X-Nova looks to be sacrificing his life to be able to save the Troll. And for now, looks to be the case, although Faith Beyond blinks in with the Burrow Strike. BKB still available. He's going to go for this Burrow Strike, the Primal Roar now onto Faith Beyond, and the right clicks will be enough. And Troll Warlord, I believe, is okay. Although CTY does have Blink. I'll that for 5 more seconds. Echo Stomp again connects. HYM doing work in this fight. Double kill for him. So they do clean up a couple of heroes, lose their racks, but that is buybacks galore for EHOME. And FY...
15k net worth. I think they have to get more. I think they have to get Roche if they want to make this worth
it. They can certainly try. Wouldn't say their Roche lineup is that great with no Deso on the Weaver.
Yeah, I agree. That's like something I talked about in the draft. They just have like no tower push. Even with the Weaver, like I think he had to go Deso. They have no Roche, no tower push. And you see it in the towers. They literally have 0 towers taken so far this game. Will they get this Roche? They have Tusk being alive in 4 seconds. No buyback on Caudle. I guess they're going to get it.
I think they should get it.
But Tusk can buy a lot of time. That hero is very obnoxious around the Roche.
Oh god, is maybe trying for this? He dropped his ultimate orb. Oh, he's actually combining. Okay. Does he want to try to steal this? This could be pretty big. Chalice, get the amplify damage with those axes. Maybe on the south side, and EHOME is just abandoning. They don't even want to try anymore, and that means that's going to be a free rush for LGD in all likelihood. Although the Echo Stomp is available. That is something to fear if you're LGD, is this defense from Elder Titan. But with all this waiting, they're going to have Coddle and Troll at their disposal. Looks like Tusk will be found out, so that's going to be 1 kill going their way.
Already has
no
36
for him.
on OD.
Yep. So Standard Eclipse will deal quite a bit of damage, but Roche not quite low enough for them to commit, it looks like.
Bottom lane has 2 catapults hitting their tier 3. They actually have to deal with this, and that means they're just going to have to give up Roche. Most likely?
Yeah, I think so. With Troll Warlord here, that is an easy pickings for him. That's BKB for him. And maybe takes the cheese for himself. Somnus takes the cheese for himself.
This just seems like a draft issue to me, what's happening with EHOME's lineup. Like, we talked about the lack of split push and the lack of wave clear and then the lack of tower pressure. It's like they've gotten plenty of kills. Like, you see the kill scores even, but if the kills always happen on your side of the map, you're the ones never getting objectives. And when one team's kills turn into objectives, that just turns into a 15k net worth lead because all the towers, the Roches, racks, they're all dead. And that's pretty much what I think sums up the 15k gold lead here. Looks like they're just going to force down top lane.
They might get their first tier 1 though.
Coddle. Oh, tier 1 bottom.
They got it.
Down.
All he needed was that Maelstrom. Actually, it's a full Mjolnir. Holy shit. I didn't even realize. Echo Stomp onto 2 heroes.
This is daytime for the Coddle Blast.
It sure is. And Troll's going to jump in. Still has the BKB. Still has the Aegis. There's the Roar onto the Weaver. It's going to be close. They put the trap on him. The Static Storm's not enough to save him. That means a wasted ultimate at the end of the day. And GG's come out. LGD take out EHOME in this best of 1 for this. I guess you could call it a round-robin group stage.
Okay, so far 3 for 3 on the drafts.
Yeah.
Take that for what it is.
Well done.
Yeah, thank you. I just feel like EHOME's draft was so hard to win with. Like, they just can't ever push. And I mean, this Beastmaster hero, man, is insane. I don't know if people just didn't realize it or what happened, or if Mind Control just opened their eyes yesterday.